What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to Learn How to Trade. That is your girl, Ladera. I am Sharif, and we're going to wait, as we typically do, for everyone to migrate over from the other stream and populate the chat. Bears versus Bulls in there first, as always, but nobody in yet, so we're going to do the roll call. Alex Enzo first, Dad Trader second, Rock. And then you've got Big Adam DeLuce, followed by Callum Mitchell-Miller, the Crazy Stitch Lady, Patrick Langlois, a lot of the usual faces, Juan Padilla, Noah, and then we got Jill, and then Three Kings Media, I like that name, Mark Susi, Zip Zane, Hamster, Abel Gomez, there we go, okay. Dat Kim, I like that one. Dat Kim.
Dat Kim.
We can go with that. And we got Big Vin and also Big France Jones. All right, let's get to some housekeeping stuff. We are brought to you by Search Trader, account funding of up to $1 million. Keep up to 90% of the profits. Enjoy relaxed trading rules with an 8% max trailing drawdown on all new accounts. Shout out to the good folks there at Search Trader. I forgot to set up my headset today, so I'm gonna have to do that real quick. For whatever reason, the Bluetooth headsets on these computers are very temperamental.
They are.
Sometimes they want to connect, sometimes they don't. It's really a shot in the dark, guys. All right, what we are talking about today is the futures trade versus the ETF trade. The one that you'll be most familiar with, obviously, is going to be the Qs versus the NQ, the SPY versus the ES. What are the advantages of trading one over the other? We're going to talk about some of the main differences here, and perhaps we can persuade you to trade the futures, because at the end of the day, it seems like that is the better bet. Let's go to the screen. First of all, let's go and look quickly about the convergence between the NQ, which is on the left side. This is the futures contract for March 15th. And then on the right side, we have the ETF, the triple Qs. And they are identical in their look. And that is not by accident, save it except for this little area over here, because we know that the futures trade one more hour than the closing print on the triple Qs, because it's based on the Chicago Central Time. So that's a look there. But you can see that identical move. I don't have the same indicators on both. Maybe I'll load that in a second so you can see exactly how identical they are. But both 5-minute time frames, both looking awfully similar. And if you didn't really have each chart marked futures in ETF, you probably wouldn't know the difference. Maybe actually you probably would, because you'd see the levels over here. But if I hid the levels from you, Adair, you probably wouldn't know.
No, it's crazy how much confluence there is.
Oh, right away we're gonna get to that. Oh, I don't even have my stream deck loaded. I can't even hit the bang. All right.
We felt it in spirit. We felt.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what the differences are between the two, Adira.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, we're just going to do a quick summary of what are futures. Futures offer investors more control in what they are investing in. According to the CME Group, a futures contract is, quote, an agreement to buy or sell a specific quantity of a commodity or financial instrument at a specified price on a particular date in the future. In this particular case, we're talking about the March 15th contract, and what happens is with these indices futures, they roll every 3 months, so 4 times a year. Some of the other ones are every month, especially the commodities-based ones, a little bit different there. So don't always just relate with quarterly expirations and quarterly rollovers with every type of futures contract, because we did talk about the commodities futures earlier.
We did, yeah.
So what are some of the advantages of trading futures versus trading the ETF? Let's talk about that. The fee structure, first and foremost. This is probably the one that everyone's going to be more interested in, because that talks about your money. One of the major advantages to futures trading as opposed to trading ETFs is the lack of a management fee. When you purchase a futures contract, you pay no management fee throughout the life of the contract, while with ETFs, you are usually charged a fee that equates to a small percentage of your balance. That was from, what's his name? One of the best friends that we got around here, Rahim Alani, baby. He came in hot, and he came in packing over here with Como Suer Pinot Noir Rose. And
rosé? Is it Pinot Noir rosé? I didn't know there was Pinot Noir rosé.
I'm uncultured. That's
no, I was just confused. It's okay. I wasn't trying to
Brendo has gifted me his bottle.
That's very nice.
Because there's no more drankin for Brendo. So
Right.
the drankin that Brendo would have done is going to be done over here.
Also, it matches your shirt. Kind of.
It does a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's a little darker, but
Yeah,
I can go with it.
They complement each other, the colors.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and shout out to Raheem. Thank you. Classy as always, Raheem, the class act that he is, bringing a bottle for him.
Yes.
Appreciate
Awesome.
Raheem. All right, let's go on. While with ETFs, you are usually charged a fee that equates to a small percentage of your balance, usually around 0.44%, but it's not a hard and fast rule. That's a general industry standard, according to the Wall Street Journal. In addition to a management fee, though, there is usually a commission tacked on to each ETF, generally averaging around 15 bucks. It really depends on who you're with. For a small-time trader, these fees can definitely add up and eat at your bottom line. So that's why I wanted to start off with this one. Everyone wants to know how much money they're going to be taking home, how much they're going to be charged per trade, and this is definitely an important one, especially if you're an active trader and you're trading every day. You're in futures contracts. It really also depends on how much the ETF trading fee with your broker is. I know that the fees for getting in and out of a futures contract at Day Trade the World a little bit more expensive than getting in on the ETFs, but that may not be a hard and fast rule across the board, so make sure to check with your broker about the different fees. All right, second, accessibility. Futures trade almost 24 hours a day. Of course, we know save and accept for that 1 hour between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 to 5 p.m. Central, because we are on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and we go by their hours, so they close for 1 hour a day, Monday to Friday. So essentially you have 23-hour trading. Now, some newer platforms, I know my brokerage offers 24-hour trading for some equities and some ETFs, but not all. So for example, the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons, you can trade those 24 hours, but on a very limited basis. Number one, the spread is not very good during those times. You're likely not going to get a good price. And to save that only for emergencies when there are after hours catalysts, and you just must get in the trade. Otherwise, futures trades much more streamlined to be traded 24 hours. Okay? Now, that's basically the only point there. Liquidity. Another factor to keep in mind when deciding between the futures and ETFs is the liquidity of each investment. When talking about investing and the stock market, liquidity refers to ability of the asset has to be able to quickly be bought and sold in the market. The more liquid the asset is, the quicker it can be bought and sold and bring immediate monetary value to its owner. While ETFs offer good liquidity, it does not offer as much substance as a futures contracts, meaning the ETF cannot support as quick of a turnaround from buying to selling as the futures market. Now, that may not be a fair characterization, especially when you talk about how liquid the Qs and the SPY are, but for other ETFs, this may be a major issue, okay? And we know that there are plenty of ETFs from equal weighted to market cap weighted to sector specific, so make sure to check the liquidity of your ETF versus whatever futures contract you are looking at trading it instead of. So make sure to check the liquidity, definitely of the ETF versus the futures, to see which one is more liquid. I'd say that this is an unfair characterization when you talk about the indices ETF because they are heavily, heavily traded. Futures contracts are all made in far out trades in dollar terms and offer much more substance than an ETF. For instance, because futures are traded so broadly and in such mass quantities, owning a futures contract allows you to buy or sell that contract on almost an instant basis. The market has so much volume and money in it, it can support this type of action where an ETF may not be able to. Now, the one that I really had my eye on, the first one was the fee structure, and then the second one, tax benefits.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm personally more libertarian oriented, and I would just love if the government's hand was taken out of my pocket. And so this is one of those ones where I'm going to be looking at.
I like it, yeah.
Right?
Makes sense. It's interesting. It's not something I thought about with regards to futures, so
yeah.
I appreciate that.
There are different tax implications, Adara, and we're going to talk about those. These are all American-specific tax benefit for all our Canadian viewers. I am not talking about the Canadian laws here. These are American-specific, as most of our viewers are from the States. All right. Trading futures contracts can also offer advantageous tax benefits. According to the IRS, a profitable short-term futures trade will pay less taxes than an ETF. According to Investopedia, a futures dividend is treated for tax purposes as 60% long-term and 40% short-term, which is a blended tax. 40% of your gains are taxed at 35%, and 60% of your gains are taxed at 15%, which averages out to around 23% tax. ETFs, on the other hand, are subject to the ordinary income tax rates, and those can add up quickly and eat some of your gains. So that is one of the added benefits, especially if you're an active futures trader and you're gonna, pay your fair share of taxes at the end, or whatever you consider fair share is, the statutorily required taxes that you pay. Futures may be definitely a better alternative to keep Uncle Sam out of your life and out of your pocket. I don't really want to repeat.
Not invited to your house.
No,
not
he's
invited
definitely
to your
not
house.
invited to my time. Goodness gracious, especially the amount of taxes we pay in this country. Volume. Let's go on to the next topic. Futures contracts greatly outpace ETFs across the globe, partly because they have something to offer to every type of trader, big or small, and even in between. When one looks at the average daily volume of futures in comparison with ETFs, they will see that treasuries, crude oil, and gold all trade roughly 20 to 600 times larger dollar value than the ETFs. Listen to that again. When you're talking about the treasuries, so the yields, when we talk about when I show you my charts at the big desk about what the 2-year and the 10-year are doing, those are the futures. That's the yield for the futures. Crude oil, the CL, all right, and gold, the GC, trade around 20 to 600 times larger dollar value, Adara, than the ETFs. And when we talked about this earlier, I was talking about how big money trades futures. This is the data point that kind of proves that whole thing.
That's really cool.
20 to 600 times larger in dollar value. In fact, according to the CME Group, the E-mini S&P 500, so the ES that we all trade, futures contract, outtrades all ETFs combined by 2.56 times in terms of notional dollar value. I'll read that again. The ES, the ES mini, the E-mini, outtrades all ETFs combined by 2.56 times in terms of dollar value. Dang. All right. Yeah, let's bring in a little chart here because I want to show this. Chilean Nightmare, if you can, or who's that? Chilean Nightmare. All right, here we go. Look at this, Adara. So the E-mini S&P 500. This is the average daily dollar volume of primary futures markets versus the corresponding ETF. Okay, so the E-mini S&P 500, the futures does about 192 billion. Compare that to the SPY, which does 19.6 billion. Big, the ratio is 9.8 times difference. And there you go, all the different ones, all the different futures contracts there. The 10-year treasury note, the crude oil, the 30-year, the gold, the NQ100. NQ100 is almost the same, nine times. So you do 23 billion on the NQ, the NQ. And then the triple Qs, you do about 2.18 billion. So that's 9 times.
Crazy.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, we're going to talk a little bit about leverage because there's different rules for leveraging when you're trading ETFs versus the future. With futures, you can control more of a commodity like gold or corn, etc., than you can with ETFs. This ability to control more of a commodity allows for the ability to create increased gains. In order to see a net gain in ETFs, you have to see a lot of movement in the price, which is rare. Well, it depends really what you're trading. In futures, because you can own such a large volume of a commodity, you don't need to see as much of a movement to create a net gain. Of course, this does swing back the other way, making it easier to lose money when owning futures. Futures also track closer to the underlying product than ETFs do. For example, An oil company stock will rise and fall with the price of oil, but there are other outlying factors that affect the stock price as well, thus creating large variances in how an ETF tracks the underlying stock. So for example, when we have oil becoming a bit of an issue because everything's happening in the Red Sea, you're going to get the immediate reaction on the futures contract, whereas an ETF that tracks XOM, CVX, Oxy, MPC, and DVN, all these big oil names, it may not react the same way because there are specific things to those companies that may either shield them from what's happening in the Red Sea or not allow it to move as much. So the point is, the ETF that tracks some of these oil equities may not react in the same way or as purely as the CL contract would, which is the oil contract for West Texas Intermediate. Where was I here? Right. Neither futures or ETFs track a 1-to-1 ratio, but futures come darn close, and that's what the article says. I'm not making that note. Darn close, and provides more stability, and that is really it. That's I wanted to show the difference because we've had so many people over the weeks and the last little bit, especially when trading futures, I say, Sharif, why are you not trading Qs? Sharif, how come you're not in the SPY? And so there are some great advantages for trading futures as opposed to ETFs, but I would say definitely because of the leveraged aspect of the futures, you are likely to lose money quicker. You're also likely to make money quicker because of the leveraged nature of the product. So make sure that, again, you are ensuring that your trading setup works for you before you ever use real money on the line, especially with futures.
Yeah, I guess check with your doctor to make sure it's right for you. But no, like seriously, this is really cool, and I like that you found this article and you talked it through in a way where it actually does compare specifically, especially because you're right, everyone is comparing the ETF to the futures contract in terms of trading. But I think honestly makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'll look into trading futures. You know what I mean? Who knows? But also, there are 3 super chats where we didn't get to earlier. Evan11, 99-cent super chat. It's like a face with I think a money tongue sticking out. Thank you so much. We also have Alex Enzo with a 99-cent super chat. Another money-related emoji. This is like a guy with $ for eyeballs. Thank you very much. And I believe there's one more. Yeah, Brent Roth, $1 super chat. It's just apparently your first super chat. So thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. And sorry it took us a little minute to get to. But yeah, thank you so much for going over that. That is very cool. And I am very excited to kind of maybe dip my toe into the world of futures because it is. I didn't realize that there were that many significant differences between the ETF and the futures beyond what you had pointed out with regards to institutional money.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I got to tell you the truth. Neither did I until I read this article and started going over all this stuff. I didn't know all these details either, especially the tax implications. I knew the leveraged aspect of it and the liquidity. Those weren't secrets to me. London Dudley, Sharif, also, if you join a firm as an independent contractor, you'll be taxed with the 1099 miscellaneous and taxed at 15.3%. So good information coming from London Dudley, but as always, when you do get information, make sure to verify it if you are going to rely on it. Thank you very much for that information there. Justin Time says Doge XD can keep Uncle Sam out of her pockets. Works great with free transactions. Absolutely. That is one of the benefits, obviously, of some of the newer financial instruments there to be traded. All right, any other questions with respect to this stuff? Kind of simple stuff today. We want to keep it light, seeing as, the market is going to be probably a little bit quiet, and we are winding down to that Christmas break. So if you have any questions now, definitely throw them in the chat. Adair and I would love to answer your questions. And the Chilean Nightmare has just put a poll that we put in the other day. Remember this? So we're trying, always to have more ideas for the midday or the Learn How to Trade show. We're going to have a lot of guests coming on soon, as we have been doing lately. But one of the other things we wanted to do was possibly have a game show where we could learn facts about the market and trading, etc. So what is your favorite game show? If we were to adopt that, Adair, which one would you vote for?
I mean, no.
No, that's so like a little all in the nose.
No, obviously. I know. I mean, honestly though, maybe Jeopardy, because I like random facts, and Jeopardy is like the random fact show. So for that alone, I might have to go Jeopardy. I'm trying to think in terms of what game shows do I watch like outside of these? I mean, honestly, like I'm a huge like, you know, what's that one called where they run Amazing Race? That one, but that's, you know, obviously not applicable here, or Catfish. But I mean, yeah, I think Jeopardy is a solid one. I put my vote in for Jeopardy. What about you?
Okay, so I love Jeopardy, but I feel like, you know, you're kind of locked into one game, like Jeopardy.
That's true. The other ones have
double
variety.
Jeopardy. I mean, how much does Jeopardy vary from round to round? Not much. Just the price or the amount that the questions are worth, right?
That's
you
true.
start off lighter, and then there's more double Jeopardies in the double Jeopardy round, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's the same game. So I'm gonna have to go and say the price is right. Just cause, well, there's more games to play, but it seems to be like even every time. 25 for Jeopardy, 30 for Family Feud, 32 for the Price is Right. So chat's really undecided here. Okay, somebody asked me if we have an auction today, so I'm having a look. So we have two shorter dated auctions coming up in about 8 minutes. That's the 4-week and the 8-week. Those only get one bull out of 3, and they don't typically move the market all that much. At least that's been my experience. At 1 o'clock, we have the 5-year TIPS auction, and that got 2 bulls out of 3. So that is a bit more important. The 5-year is not one that I track personally. I like the 10, the 2, and the 30, but the 5-year is also closely followed. The previous print on this one was 2.44%. We'll see what the new print is. That's at 1 o'clock today, guys. So like the 20-year auction that we had yesterday, we have another one today, 5-year, and that comes in at 1 o'clock. The Fed's balance sheet comes out at 4:30. Maybe you catch that on the closing show with Sean. Yes, there was a question here from Sharuz. Let me just scroll back up. Sharif, any auction today? Oh, that was your question. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? It looks like we have very few questions today. Do you guys ever scalp pre-market on overnight news like TQQ or crap on Stressla? I don't, you know, like obviously I'm here in the pre-market. I get here around 7:15, 7:10. Adair's already here and Neil's already here. I know Neil likes to trade in the pre-market sometimes. Well, he's usually doing a lot of his leveling at that time as well. I personally don't have time to do any of that because I'm prepping for different things for my duties on the big desk. But yeah, when I was trading full time and I didn't have any of these duties, I was always looking at pre-market trades, especially in 2020 and 2021 when the liquidity was just insane in the pre-market. So yeah, that was a look.
Yeah, no, I heard it like used to be crazier pre-market to trade.
Yeah, Sharif, what was the main reason for the sell-off yesterday? Distribution, is it still going? So from what I'm hearing, you know, nobody really knows exactly why, but some of the ideas that are being floated around are the 0 days to expiry options, 0 DTE, options that have become quite popular with retail traders. There was an unusual amount of those traded yesterday, puts specifically, not calls. So that could have had a big move to the downside. Another reason that was reading that's been floating around is the fact that, you know, we're coming into that Christmas break and everybody's looking at capitalizing on this month and a half of upside that we've been having and, you know, looking to lock in some profits. I don't think it has anything to do with fundamentals. We really haven't got anything out that has changed the landscape. We got the GDP print this morning, which came in, you know, as expected, even a little bit below, nice in that Goldilocks zone. Same thing with continuing jobless claims, a little bit below, showing the same type of strength in the employment market. So nothing that's really, really new that would have taken the market by surprise. So keep your eye on that. Kyle Burdett, Big Kyle, could you give thoughts on what to do after you've had one of your best trading days ever? Today, I'm on the sidelines after having a massive green day yesterday. Bask in your glory, Kyle. Bask in all that glory and start counting your money. No. In all seriousness, try to look at what you did well from yesterday and how you can repeat that. And I would say definitely look in, unless you see something specific today that you really like, look at preserving your profits. Don't give back too much money to the market, especially in a sideways move. I mean, we are down on the day, but barely, right? 0.69. We're not down on the day. What am I saying? We're up on the NQ 0.69 from yesterday's close, but we are definitely off the highs. Wait for your levels to come in, Kyle. Earmark some levels. Pick a trade that you want. I know you're more short bias. If your trade doesn't come in, don't trade. Don't give back that money. especially in an indecisive market. That would be my suggestion to you, especially after a monster day yesterday. Shout out to you. And I missed that whole thing too, because I left here at around 2:30, 2:45. And when I got to the gym and started looking at my phone, I was like, what is happening here?
The market said bye-bye. The market was like, you say we close at 4, I say we close at 2:30.
Really?
And then just like left.
Honestly. Why is that here? Sharif, does index future movement on the aftermarket affect the price of the index at open? So because the index or the, so let me read that again. Does the index future movement in the aftermarket, I'm assuming you mean, affect the price of the index at the open? Are you talking about the index like the NDX? Or are you talking about the effect of the aftermarket movement in the NQ on the open of the NQ? Just explain that to me a little bit. I'd love to answer that question for you. Only trades for me today, says Kyle, is a failed breakout, 4,800 to get short. All right, Sharif, you didn't lose? What do you mean? I don't get it, Patrick. SJ, Sharif, after a milestone day, I always recommend to take the next day off to get the adrenaline out of and avoid giving back. I couldn't agree more. Unless you really see an A+ setup coming in which case, you know, go for it. Boyle and UNG, you want to have a look at that for Chai 5?
Chai 5, okay, yeah, for sure. Boyle and UNG, okay.
Well, you can choose one or the other. One is triple levered for nat gas, and one is just single.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do Boyle. Let's do Boyle.
Sure. That's a triple levered one.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, okay.
We did get inventories at 10:30, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. So there's kind of an interesting kind of double bottom area here, just because I like to, like lean back and analyze the whole chart. About 26.20, that was kind of around the area we were dancing pre-market. Then we got here again just right after open, bounced off it again at 10. Then this is when we got the numbers. So we were still kind of chopping a little bit. Around 10:35, Boyle decided it was going to run. The pot was going to boil over. And then we got to this 27.75. So this is a nice move up here, about $1.50 here. Not a bad look at all. We also had this interesting kind of, I was looking at areas that were, points of contention earlier as well to see where resistance may play a role. Just below 27 is interesting to me. Double top. And then the second time we hit this, we actually were kind of we were seeing sellers overwhelming bias here. Look at these wicks to the upside. And then this is kind of the candle off of which this 27 area, with which we really jumped off with a lot of, actually use a word Sharif loves using, vigor, because it's a great word. But yeah, we saw a lot of vigor here off this 27. So I think coming down, that could be an area to keep an eye on. I want to look at the daily on this as well, because that's what I like to do. Yeah, the daily on Boyle is a bit sadder, but it looks like we're kind of maybe trying to come out of a downward trend. So it'll be interesting if we kind of crack this 29 area that we saw on Monday. I think that would be of interest. Also, because I may as well, I will address the trade that I am in. And this is, a segment that we're calling Adara Tries to Take a Small Cap. No, I'm joking. It's just me trying to take a small cap.
That was your first ever trade, remember?
That was my
ATX?
Yeah, I did the AXLA.
AXLA, that's.
So yeah, my humble, I'm also still in the sim, but yeah, my humble beginnings trading AXLA and having a heart attack. Why I liked this though was because I liked the setup of this. I like that we had this move up and then we had sort of a bull flag or I guess bull pennant forming and then we shot right back up to the upside. I did actually DCA on this, which I normally don't do, and I was very scared to do, but A, teeny tiny share size, I have to say. And B, I got in here because this was I really liked this base. Got out part of the profit when we had that swoop up to 740. and then, maybe we'll DCA again around here just because I'm liking kind of this consolidation. I'm getting out if we break below 710. I'm trying to keep this nice and tight because we know that small caps love to shoot to the upside and they give you no warning. So we're just trying to be prepared. We're trying to, stay awake, stay alive here. Also, I have a question with regards to the lesson material. So is there then a future contract for every ETF?
It's more like, is there an ETF for every futures contract?
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well,
Thank
the
you.
ETF comes in, the future contract is the real, right? It's what you're using to hedge your bets. I'll give you an example, airlines.
Okay.
So they are subject to the whims of the price of jet fuel, right? And so they can't just, predict their year based on the current price fluctuating every one time. So what they're doing is they're looking at buying futures and even options as well to actually help hedge their bets so that they can come to us and say, here's what we predict we're going to spend on fuel in Q1, in Q2. So these are actual like tools to help businesses. It's not just for us degenerates to sit here and trade them. They're actually functional in real life.
Okay.
Right, to help offset different risks within the business world. So I would say it's the ETF mimicking the future, not the future mimicking the ETF.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Guys, we have to talk about Mullen here because Mullen is absolutely going parabolic. It's up 51.25% after that reverse split. Here it is. It's halted again at $12.10. I'm seeing the top as $12.90. So this is very upwardly bound. Mullen, is this the third halt? Let me look at my other chart. I think it's the second halt, but let me just have a look real quick here. MULN. Let's go to the one. As you can see here, it is a rocket ship, and we have been halted 3 times. All 3 halts have been to the upside. The closing print after the split yesterday, and this is split adjusted, is $8. That was also the pre-market high today in the morning, but there we go, $12.10 on MULN. I don't believe there's a specific headline other than just the reverse split. Let me just make sure. Here it is. What's going on with Mullen stock? Benzinga. Thursday morning, Mullen announced that it delivered 38 additional Class 3 vehicles to Randy Marion, an automotive group. All right, the company invoiced them for $2.5 million. Randy Marion has committed to ordering 1,000 Class 3 vehicles for a total of $63 million. Okay, so there is a catalyst here with MULN. All right, so it's running on a catalyst. It had a reverse split. Looks good. Halted at 12.10. Each previous halt has been 5 minutes in length. Let's look at how long this one's going to be. Let's see what time we closed out. We closed out 11:30 and 47 seconds. So currently it is 11:33 and 47 seconds. So we should have about 2 more minutes left on this halt before we open up again. And so far the tap showing $12.92. Upwardly strong is MULN on the day. Just be careful with this one because, it may have a tendency of going a little nuts. But hey, if you're going to make money on it, shout out to you. But Mullen halted and tap almost $1 above where we halted at Darrow. So we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah. Also, there's a question from Mark Price. So it was along the lines of, so are our futures slightly different from options then?
Oh,
that was his question.
Oh, yeah. The options is a right to buy or sell a stock on a given date. So I'll just give you a real life example of an option so that you can kind of try to wrap your head around it. Say, for example, I see a house that I like and I'm not sure I'm going to have the money. So I go to the owner and I say, look, I'll give you $1,000 right now if you leave me the option to buy this house from today, December 21st to January 21st. I'm going to have the right to buy this house, a right of first refusal for a period of a month. You are paying for that right to be able to either buy the house. Just like with the option, you are paying for the right to be able to buy it or sell it at a certain price, and that's what the premium is. Okay?
Thank you.
So options are just like, it's a conditional thing.
So you're paying for the privilege basically to be involved. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Good suggestions in the chat there about who we could partner up with if we want to talk about options. Definitely not one of my fortes, for sure. Shout out to Mark Price. All right. Yeah, it's a right or obligation depending on if it's a put or a call. Yes, absolutely.
That's a good
correct.
point.
Yes. Kyle Burdett was asking a question in the top there. Okay, well, we're going to get to that in a second because Mullen just opened up and it opened up lower. It's bouncing here off the general support level. Let's see what we get with this bad boy over here. Are we going to run up or are we going to run down? We've had 3 halts. All have been to the upside, and here it goes again, up into that $12 area, flying to the high side. The spread is a little wide for an $11 or $12 name. It's about 13 pennies, 14 pennies at times. It opens up and it tightens up, but Mullen riding high here. We'll see if we can get continuity through that $12 area. That $12 area was kind of the resistance level. Even though we halted at 12.10, it rejected off that area quite quickly. And there goes 12 through the top again. New high day, 12.56 on MULN. Now up over 55%. Let's see if we can get that continuity. I didn't even bother charting to see where the resistance levels are because of the reverse split. My chart is going to be super crazy today, and I won't be able to read levels, but once that gets split adjusted, there it goes. New high a day, 12.88. Mullen is absolutely pumping to the high side. 13 incoming, baby. We'll see if we can break that lucky number 13, up over 61% on MULN after that reverse split.
What a look. That's quite the chart, I have to say. Also, yeah, so Kevy asking if I see any news on mRNA. I don't see anything, but let me look at what the chart is doing. Is MRA doing things right now? Is it injecting the market? Oh, it's up about like 7%. Okay, mRNA, I see you. Yeah, thank you for pointing this one out to me. I will keep an eye out if there's any news here. But yeah, this is we had like kind of an upward trend that we broke out of very much to the high side. I want to look at the daily chart and see. It was last week, I think, that mRNA had that really strong. Yeah, there we go. Here we are. So this was that day that, was it the Keytruda? I want to make sure I'm getting this correct. Yes. So they had the study showing with Merck that if you add the mRNA treatment with Keytruda, you have stronger results. This one, yeah, this is quite the interesting look for mRNA. We haven't been at this level since when is this? October 16th, October 18th kind of range. So yeah, we'll have to see what we do here. This could be an area of interest, this 92.50, 93 area. We definitely fell down in this candle on the 16th at 96.70 all the way down to roughly 92. So yeah, I think this area could be key, could be one of note here. Thank you for pointing this one out to me, Kevy. This is a very interesting look. I want to see what, I know that from when I did the sector watch today, I know that there was some strength in these healthcare names. Let's look at my favorite. Let's look at Eli Lilly. How's Eli Lilly shaking? Oh, 0%. Yeah, this is not a great look. Kind of a stutter step to the downside here. Very much a downward channel. What about Pfizer? Pfizer's up on the day. Okay. Yeah, Pfizer is, this is a good look for sure. Or not a bad look. I mean, I'd like to kind of see if we break out of this 28, 30 range. But yeah, this could be interesting as well. Yeah, Pfizer's had some rough times in the last little bit on the daily here. I mean, yeah, we had this swoop down, and then the second swoop. I think this was related to the weight loss drugs, December 1st. I'm going to clarify the dates on this, but Pfizer. Yeah, so I believe December 1st was when we had the news with the weight loss drug. Yes, we did. So that was the top line weight loss drug data. And then again, December 13th, so the day before the mRNA news, we had, we had the limited operational growth. So yeah, really rough times for Pfizer. It looks like we're trying to break out of that. I think if this one just shouldn't decide to run, I think that area that we really had that big candle down from on the 13th, the 28.70 could be of interest. Also, 2 super chats. Alex Enzo, thank you so much for the 99-cent super chat with the little smiley face with the dollar eyes. And Chelsea Ashley, thank you so much for this $5 super chat. Love having Adara on the show. Female representation, also someone who's still in the sim. Thank you all so much for your work every single day. Thank you so much. This is super sweet.
That's really nice.
I really appreciate that. That is so nice. That is beyond sweet. And thank you everybody for your support. I'm just super happy to be here and learn every day.
No. Well, because I'm in a position. Long the future, seeing if we can hold this 16.9. We got to decide to break through 16.9, but I want to see if it's going to be a fake out. Going to give this a little bit of room to see if we can hold that 16.9 area. It's also VWAP. I just, concerned that it might be a fake out, especially with the lower highs and lower lows that we've been putting in all morning. We just did put in a bit of a higher low on the future over here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Here are the lower highs. You don't have to be a super chartist to be able to see that.
Chartist, I like that.
Yeah, we're above the IB low at the moment. That is, it's not even the IB low, I would say. that this is 10 o'clock. So we'll see if we can get that hold around here, but we put in a higher low through this consolidation area here, and then there's the break of VWAP. We'll see what we get. Small position on the MNQ. Always MNQ, baby. Mr. Loveshack, let me know if you need me to clarify the obligations on the seller side versus the right of the buyer side. No, clearly, I mean, there is really nothing to explain there. When you when you have puts, you're going to actually have to pick it up at a price that's not advantageous for you, especially if you're out of the money on there. But yeah, if you want to absolutely put in details and have me read it out, we would be more than willing to share that with our viewers. And the more education we have on here, I think absolutely the better. So shout out to you and thank you for offering that. Keep it short. Bull trap is on, says Zoltan. All right, well, Zoltan's got his opinion there. Let's see what we get with low volume buying, he says, until the killer whale jump into the water. Careful. All right, thank you for the heads up. We'll see what kind of move we get, if anything, on this particular trade. Mark Price, $5. Thank you to the entire team there for teaching us and sharing the overall knowledge for us who are novice to trading. Shout out to you, my man, and thank you for being part of the show and you know, participating and being active in the chat. Yeah. Obviously, we wouldn't be here unless you guys were here.
Yeah, and I mean, especially as someone who's also like very much a novice to trading, I'm happy to be here and learn alongside everybody in the chat and learn from the chat, learn from Sharif, or learn from everybody on the floor. And I'm so happy other people get to bask in that knowledge as well. I have a question too. This is maybe kind of a weird question.
Yeah.
So are there ways to identify a bull trap or a bear trap, or is it just kind of more what the market's
Well,
feeling?
you can look at volume. I mean,
Okay.
what Mr. Loveshack was saying that actually was important. You know, you can also just take your time before you get in, so you may end up missing some of the trade, but waiting for the level to be established. So you're waiting 10, 15 minutes, making sure that 16.9 does hold. Now you give up a little bit because now your entry 10, 15 minutes later may be at a higher point, maybe 16,915, 920. You're not at 900 exactly. So you may have to actually wait a little bit to see, does the level hold out or not, right?
So you're waiting for like a volume breakout, basically, is what you'd be. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see what we get here. Nvidia moving up nicely. I'm seeing Nvidia here looking like the stronger of the Mag 7. Obviously, Google looking good as well. It's above VWAP, but we just had an aggressive break through VWAP by NVDA. Looked like it based out at that 486 area. Now we're knocking on the door of 49. We know the high day right now is at that 490.95, but I can't stress enough how much trouble Nvidia has been having breaking and holding above 500. We showed you what it did in the summer. We showed you what it did in early fall. All of the $500 breaches were followed by subsequent days to the downside, an aggressive downside move. And look, yesterday was no different. Basically, we're at $500 all day, putting in this compression pattern that we talked about. And look at this move down, coming down about 20 bucks into that 481 area. Oof. But Nvidia looking real good. TSLA is the other one. You saw the Katina man involved in this one. I don't know if he was long or short on this one today, but there we go. We're getting a nice bigger move up off that 248.5. Now we're knocking on the door of a high a day at that 254 area, 253.95 exactly. So we'll see what kind of move we can get on TSLA. Gapped up though. And it did almost fill the gap. Look at that move down. So this is the gap from 4 a.m. versus the yesterday close. And it looks like we did fill that gap a little bit.
We did.
Right, so we'll see what kind of move here we get on NVDA and TSL. Mr. Loveshack says, you stated earlier, depending on whether you have puts or calls, but irregardless of which kind of contract, calls puts the seller obligation to buy or sell. Buyers have rights. Thanks for that. Appreciate that, Mr. Loveshack. Brendan Walsh, hey, love you guys. I have a call option for Mullen that expires December 29th. What happens with that after the stock split thing? Because I don't see any options now. I actually don't know what happens after the stock split with options. I'm assuming there's some sort of rollover formula for that. I'm not the one to ask. My options knowledge is quite limited. I'm sorry I can't help you there. Perhaps some other individuals in the chat that are more versed in options can answer that question for you guys. So whoever can answer that for our friend, Brendan Walsh, yeah, just tag him there and let him know.
Awesome.
Yes. Mr. Loveshack, the split affects the option too, so it splits as close to the ratio to the stock price. Very interesting stuff. Look at this. I'm like learning here. I'm supposed to be doing the teaching. I'm doing the learning today. Love it. Yeah, well, I don't know too much about options. I'm not going to lie about that. So, Nvidia is absolutely pumping up here, guys. Something's going on with Nvidia.
Oh,
beautiful move to the north side here on Nvidia, guys, as we knock on the door of that 490. If you come to the chart, if you're able to, please. 489.25 now, looking to get into that 491 area. That is the high of day, 40.95, 490.95. Here we go. Good move up through VWAP. Let's see if it buoys this whole market, Adair.
I would love it to. I'm also looking at one of its cousins in the semiconductor land, Micron. Micron is an interesting one because we're still up on the day about 7% after those lovely earnings. Lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower high, lower high. Let's see what we do at this high because I could be intrigued. We're still up on the day. I think whether or not we make or fail this 84.50 area, which would be like kind of the most recent high, that to me will be a sign of A, whether I'd like to get in on this, and B, in which direction. Another one I want to look at today, another earnings name, I have to say it, Blackberry. What's Blackberry doing here? Not that much. This could be, I don't want to like anticipate ahead of time. It looks like it could be a bull pennant type of move. We did have a big flag to the downside, and now we're kind of having this consolidation with sort of a flat bottom around this 356, 354-ish range. But I do not want to get involved until I have proof that that is what it's doing. But yeah, I am interested in this potentially as an earnings play. Although how low could it really go? It is down like almost 13%. But yeah, not a bad look at all here on Blackberry. Also looking at Tesla. When am I not looking at Tesla might be a better question. But look, we got a slightly lower high here. So this 253.60. Now we're kind of ratcheting up a little bit here. Let's see if we make this 253.60 again. I think what we do at 253.60, similar to my take on Mullen, will probably inspire what I do from here on out because I like to, see what we do at these key levels. I've been I know I scalp, but I think lately too I've been paying more attention to the levels at which I scalp because that matters. I can't really plan my exits or entrances unless I have levels. Otherwise, I'm just like running into the trade like a bull in a china shop. You know what I mean? I want to be a little bit more graceful. So like a ninja. So we'll see what happens here. I do not dislike Tesla, how this is looking right now. This could be a long if we break that high.
I love this. People are arguing about what are words and what are not. Irregardless, not a word. Can't believe the professor didn't catch that. Leave me alone, man. I'm working here.
I'm also pretty sure it is a word.
Irregardless?
Yeah, I mean, it's like not the more commonly used one, but irregardless.
You're a writer too, so you should probably know, right?
Yeah.
What's that, Neil? Yeah,
Thank you.
well, that's what I'm saying, yeah. That's nice. All right, guys, we'll see what we get here.
The Neil glasses shot there. I enjoyed that. You were briefly
You know
on
they're
camera.
going to put you on as soon as you start talking. They're just taking the opportunity. All right, guys. Good move up here on some of these names. Tesla and Nvidia in specific, I'm seeing here, but you still have a lot of the Mag 7 names at or below VWAP. I want to say the outliers are definitely Google, Tesla, and now Nvidia. Everything else looks a little anemic. You have a nice breach right now on AMZN, but it's still quite consolidative there with a 152 base, and we're not really doing much. Lower highs definitely on the Amazon, to take a page out of Obi's book.
You sound like Obi with
a bit of a compression pattern too here at Dara, as we are making some higher lows, but it is a down move. So I'm not really putting too much hope into this. So we'll see what we get here on the future. Small position for me, and breaks down below a key level. I'm just gonna get out of it.
It looks compression-y though, for sure. Yeah.
Ed Nuts, Sharif, on the subject of words, did you say buoy the market? Yeah. You know what buoy means? I'm hoping. Yeah. And by the way, that buoy can be said boy. It's actually two pronunciations. Yeah. Like my sister says plethora, and I say plethora. Yeah, and we fought about that. So,
really, you fought?
Yeah. Well, what do siblings do well other than fight?
That's true, right? I mean, my sister and I have fought probably over weirder things than that.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, plethora versus plethora, that's fair.
All right. Are we going to Google whether irregardless is a word or not?
So I did. Also, shout out to Bears versus Bulls because they had the same thing as me. Yeah, it's a non-standard adverb.
Patty
It is a word. It's a word. I knew it. Yeah, regardless is the more common word. Irregardless is still a word.
Big Patty Ice and Adara are now disagreeing about whether irregardless is a word. What does Google say, Adara?
I will say irregardless of people's opinions, and I used regardless intentionally there, it is a word. It's a non-standard adverb. Sorry, I get aggressive when it comes to language.
Yeah, right.
But apologies there. But yeah, it is a non-standard adverb. So basically, it's not the more commonly used of the two, but that does not make it not a word.
Okay.
Sorry, there we go. Also, Bears versus Bulls, LOL, I'm dying. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, this is what we're talking about. Really matters around here, Adara. All right, should we restart the lesson?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Guys, can you restart the topics? Thanks. Go for it.
Yeah, bless you. Sorry, I said bless you really aggressively, and not me too. But wait, let's breathe. Okay, so let's talk about ETFs and futures with regards to ETFs. So basically, according to as defined by the SEC, an ETF is an SEC registered investment company offering investors a way to pool their money into a fund that invests in stocks, bonds, or other assets. So, in layman's terms, an ETF is combining the two main features of mutual funds and standard stock trading. It's a little bit of a marriage between the two.
Okay.
So what are futures, though, now that we're going to talk about this before we kind of, blend the two together? Futures offer investors a little bit more control in what they're investing. And, they're also often favored by bigger investors or institutional names. And according to the CME Group, a futures contract is an agreement to buy or sell a specific quantity of a commodity or a financial instrument at a specified price on a particular date in the future. So it is a contract. That's what the futures kind of are. And what are the advantages of futures trading, specifically compared to ETFs, which I think is a really cool topic, and that's what we're going to get into today. Numero uno, fee structure. One of the major advantages to futures trading versus ETFs is the lack of a management fee. When you purchase a futures contract, you pay no management fee throughout the life of the contract. Well, with ETFs, you're usually charged a fee that equates to a small percentage of your balance, usually about 0.44%. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. In addition to the management fee, there's usually a commission tacked onto each ETF trade, which usually averages about $15 according to this. And for a small-time trader, these fees can really add up and they can gnaw at your bottom line like little rats. They're just eating at your bottom line. You don't want that. So that's one advantage that future has versus ETFs. Accessibility also is number two. And futures trade almost 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. So you have a lot more access, basically, right? You're able to get at them more easily because they trade more. They're just available more. And some ETFs offer after-hours trading, but they can't be traded 24 hours a day. So futures do give you a leg up there. In 2019, when everybody's on the go and accessibility is key, in 2023, whatever year, in 2024 almost, you want to get moving. You want to have that accessibility, and futures are really important for that because you can access them whenever, right? Almost 24/6. So liquidity is another really important aspect of futures that makes them very key. And I know this is something that you value as well when you trade the future, to quote Sharif. So this is a big factor when you're looking at a futures versus an ETF type situation. It's the liquidity of each investment. So when you're talking about investing and the stock market, liquidity, just quick little vocab lesson here. Liquidity refers to an ability that an asset has to be quickly bought and sold in the market. So how much volume is there? How quickly is it moving? You know what I mean? How many people are involved? And the more liquid an asset is, the more quickly that it can be purchased and sold and then bring in immediate monetary value to its owner. So you're not waiting for a bid. You're not waiting to get into the trade or get out of the trade. You have that liquidity. It's running with you. It's working for you. You know what I mean? So ETFs do offer good liquidity, but they don't offer as much substance as a futures contract. So this means that the ETF market can't really support as quick of a turnaround from buying to selling as the futures market. And futures contracts are all made in far out trade dollar terms, and they offer much more substance than an ETF. So for example, because futures are traded so broadly and in such mass quantities, owning a futures contract allows you to buy or sell that contract basically instantly. You can get in and out a lot faster. And so the market has so much volume and money that it can support this type of action, whereas an ETF might not be able to do so. So now, number 4, fourth point we want to talk about today, this is the fun one. I know Sharif was getting really into this one earlier, the tax benefits.
Yes.
Which was the thing I was not aware of with futures that I think is really cool. So trading futures contracts can offer advantageous elements when it comes to taxes. So according to the IRS section 1256, this is the US, a profitable short-term futures trade will pay less taxes than an ETF. Really interesting thing to know. And according to Investopedia, a futures dividend is treated for tax purposes, treated for tax purposes as 60% long-term and 40% short-term, which is a blended tax, which is really interesting, a good thing to know. I need to learn more about tax law now, who knew? But 40% of your gains are taxed at 35%, and 60% of your gains are taxed at 15%, which averages out to a 23% tax. Whereas the ETFs are subject to ordinary, old, boring income taxes, and those can add up quickly, and they can also gnaw at your gains. They can gnaw at your profits. You don't want that, which is a nice benefit that futures have. So number 4, this is also a big one I learned today, that the volume of futures contract really outweighs the volume of ETFs, partially because they have something to offer every different type of trader, big, small, in between. Also the institutional investors really like those futures, so that's another thing to note as well with regards to volume. So if you look at the average daily volume of futures in comparisons with the average daily volume of ETFs, you'll see that treasuries, crude oil, gold, etc., they'll all trade about 20 to 600 times larger than dollar value on ETFs. So let's actually look at this comparison here. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to zoom in here. There we go. Yeah, so look at this. This is like, for example, I don't know when this was, but we had the S&P mini. So the futures in dollar value, $192 billion. And the average daily value for the ETF, though, was $19.6 billion. So that's almost 10 times. 9.8 times, as you can see. So that's crazy. I mean, all of these, you see, 26.5 times, this is the gold futures. So you can really see the extent to which you're getting kind of a leg up in terms of volume if you're trading the future. Let's get out of this. And then, so leverage, number 6. The sixth and final thing we need to keep an eye on here with regards to weighing out futures versus ETFs. So with futures, you can control more of a commodity like gold or corn than you can with ETFs. So the ability to control more of a commodity, this leverage, can help you increase your gains, but can also increase your losses. So in order to see a net gain in ETFs, you have to see a lot of price movement. You've got to see like these crazy jumps, right? But that's kind of rare. But with futures, you can see you can own such a large volume of a commodity. Because you can own such a large volume of a commodity, you don't need to see as much of a movement to create a net gain. So it's like these smaller movements that can also help you gain. But this can also swing back the other way because you don't need as much to see a big gain. You don't need to lose as much to see a big L.
Exactly.
And we don't want L's.
Want more M's.
Yeah, we want more M's. Thank you, Sharif. Thank you, 21 Savage, I guess, as well. But futures also track closer to the underlying product, sorry, than ETFs. So, par exemple, for example here, an oil company's stock will rise and fall with the price of oil, but there are other outlying factors that affect the stock's price as well. So this creates a larger variance in how an ETF tracks than to the underlying stock. To the underlying stock. So neither futures or ETFs track at a 1-to-1 ratio, but futures come darn close and they provide more stability. Also, that's interesting. I didn't even think about, too, before we did this today, the fact that it makes sense that ETFs are also, they're farther from futures, but B, they're more influenced.
Sorry, I have to interrupt.
Okay.
I just had to take nice little 15-point winner there on the futures as we come all the way back down. Oh, I took it out too early. That's just poopy. That's all good. We'll get into another one. Sergey, go ahead, Adara.
Yeah, sorry, no, what I was going to say is I think it's really interesting, go futures, but I thought it was really interesting here that that we, with the ETFs as well, you're influenced by the larger stock market, right? Because
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was confused. So apologies for that. With the ETFs, it's interesting to think about because they are influenced by what the market's doing as well, right? Not just the future, so it might not be as accurate or as easy to track as the future. And I didn't think about this too. That makes sense then that with the futures you're actually in points, right? Because it's a little bit different to track, whereas with the ETFs, you know, you're influenced by the overall market. Like, I think really I feel like I've learned a lot actually looking at the inherent differences between the two. And if there are any other questions in the chat with regards to futures and ETFs and the differences, or any other insights people have, because I'm still learning, feel free to put that in the chat, and then we can, you know, we can take a, you know, we can learn more and chat together. Good times.
Sounds good. Everybody wants to know something about NEO. Everybody's talking about NEO. Let's have a look at NEO. I haven't looked to see what NEO has been up to today.
Lately, I feel like. Today, not as much.
Yeah, not really doing much. Let's go to the 5, get a better picture of what NEO's up to. Yeah, I really don't have anything to say about NEO. It's very much an inside day. We are within yesterday's price action, being engulfed entirely. We had a high yesterday of at around 871. That was at that was at the open, 870. We closed out the day yesterday at 792. Today the low is 799 and the high is 831. So nothing for me on NEO. Very much being very much an inside day. So that's not the kind of setup that I'm looking for. Let's see if something's breaking out, breaking down, something like that, rather than trying to play within these ranges. That's not my type of trade. So yeah. Thank you for pointing out NEO, and thank you for reading that out.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, just tag Adara and I. We'd be more than happy to answer the questions for you.
Questions.
With respect to some of these names, you know, very, very down day right now for the Meg set. Well, not down day. I shouldn't say that. You know, retracing off the highs. That's probably what I should say. Off the highs that we made in the pre-market this morning on the Meg 7, most of them moving down. You can kind of make a couple of exceptions here, mostly for Google and Tesla. Even Nvidia was trying, but it just made a move down through VWAP as well. This is Nvidia, bottom right-hand corner over here. So not much really with these ones. Hold the shorts, I guess. That's really the look here, because everything else still headed down off yesterday's big sell-off late in the afternoon. Crack the champagne. It's noon where you are. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Gotta concentrate on this show. Maybe we'll crack it on Friday. I know, right?
That.
Well, it is noon. He's not wrong,
he is
right?
correct.
I don't know. I don't really like drinking at noon. The earliest I'll start drinking is like 2, 3 o'clock. And, you know, that's probably going to be on a weekend, not a weekday either. Like 5 o'clock on a weekday after work. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I think it depends on the day, and I think it depends on who you're with and the atmosphere as well.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And the trading floor is not the atmosphere, I have to say.
It seems like, you know, more of a professional atmosphere rather than a drink. But
our pinkies are up. You know, we're drinking our tea or our
I like
coffee.
that. We have been known to basically have a drink or two on the Friday.
Yeah, I've been there for that.
But I don't think anybody's ever been inebriated. Like, we just drink and a couple of drinks, couple of beers, and just to take the edge off on a Friday. The future's absolutely tanking. Here we go, 16,850. We're awfully close to that IB low that we made this morning at 16,845. What a short this was. Covered way too quick, but whatever. That's the look there, but it just made another touch at 18,650. Sorry, 16,850, and looks like we are headed into the IB low. The overnight low, though, I should tell you guys, is a smidge below 16.8. So 16.8 is definite level to be looking at should we make it down. 16,790 and a quarter is the overnight low, but definitely I'll be having my eyes fixed on 16.8 to see if we can get a bounce off there. But
that's a solid.
Good look for the shorts right now as it heads down to the south side, baby. MULN halted again at $15.34 to the downside this time after making a high there of $18.70, so $3 and change off the highs. First halt down. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up halts, and this is the first down halt right now, so we'll have to see how long this one lasts for, but what a nice move on MULN on the day. Let's see if this one can get its legs under it and head to the high side. In case you're wondering why Mullen is moving, there was a reverse split as well as these 38 cars, 38 class, so 38 cars, class 3 vehicles to Randy Marion Automotive Group and they've been invoiced a cool $2.5 million for those 38 vehicles. So Mullen delivering some stuff. Maybe when Randy comes by, we'll get the chance to talk to him about that and what he thinks about some of these Class 3 vehicles. I don't even know what the hell a Class 3 Mullen vehicle is. Let's have a look at this. Bring up this bad boy.
I love
here.
like when we have like just looking at EV.
Yeah,
time.
Mullen Class.
I don't know if they're, are they
3.
EV, right?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, good.
Images. Okay, so it's a truck.
Ugh.
Ah, all right.
Actually, no, I don't hate it. I was judging it too early.
It looks like a regular, truck
Nice and
that you would
boxy.
see on the road. Doesn't look too EV-ish, but I guess that's kind of the good thing here is that there's really not much of a difference, to be honest with you. Class 3 EV cab chassis. So you can make them into vans as well, according to this thing over here. So, yeah, interesting. It doesn't say, no.
Not like a
Tina Man
bad
wants to
look.
know the price. There it is, starting at $68,500. Available tax credit, you get 75 hundos tax. This is America, by the way,
Okay.
Mullen, USA. So the vehicle's net price will come to around $61,000 after the tax credit. But that tax credit, you get that back at the end of the year. You have to fork over that $7,500 at the point of sale. And that's what sucks. So if they took that $7,500 off at the point of sale, I bet you probably a lot of people will be more enticed. But you got to wait. Unless you're, it's a rebate, it's a tax credit, right? Rather than removing it off the price, you have people apply for it and then either,
So you need that much money to get it in the first place, like, and then they'll give it back to you.
You got to finance $68,500 plus
plus
tax,
the 70,
plus tax, and then when you file your taxes at the end of the year, you submit a tax credit.
I was confused. Okay, that makes sense.
For $7,500. So not bad luck. Mullen still halted, guys. 15:34. The halt time on Mullen was 12:03:54. It is currently 12:07:50. So we have a couple more minutes left on this halt. A minute left, pardon me, on this halt. If we are to be a 5-minute halt, Adara, and then we'll see what we get after that. Nick Dubb, can you look at Rivian instead of my super chat? Oh, it's my bad. I didn't. Did I say anything about a super chat?
I think it just came in like more recently.
Well, shout out to Nick Dubb. Thanks for that. Microsoft flat bottom break at 15, but he wants me to have a look at Rivian. We'll do that in 1 second. Mr. Loveshat, box trucks meant for endpoint transportation? Sure. Jay Lee says, seems Mullen should have hired an aerodynamics guy or two. Flat front, huge walls like that tend to be stupid bad coefficients LMAO. All right, we're getting some engineering stuff here, but let's have a look at RIVN for our friend Nick Dubb.
Let's look at Rivian.
I'll look at that as well right now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's anything about time frame on this Rivian situation.
It's an inside day from what I can see so far still. Up 3% Adara here on RIVN. Yesterday's high, we're well engulfed. So it looks like a bearish engulfing candle. If I was to look at this on the daily chart, which I will in a second, the high yesterday Adara, 24.57. The low yesterday closing right at the low. So not a good look. $23.18. So off the highs of 24, I said 57. The high today, 24.12. The low, 24.12, and then the low is 23.40. So less than $1 worth of range. And look at this. Let's flip to the daily. And there you go, that bearish engulfing candle where you have the entire day's price action engulfed by the previous day. So right now, inside day, we'll see whether we can break out or below the ranges established yesterday so far on RIVN. But I mean, you put the American EVs today on the watch list because of the possible tariffs that are going to be charged to some of these Chinese EVs.
Yeah, so they are basically with regards to that story. There's some talk about tariffs. Basically, it's kind of continuing with the U.S. worrying about competition from China. We saw this a little bit in different industries with the chips, with the U.S. like not sending, or they don't want to send some of the more advanced AI chips to China. I know from someone from the U.S. Department of U.S. Secretary Department, I believe, Gina Raimondo, apparently she said they're working with Nvidia. I don't know about the other chip companies, but I know Nvidia they've been working with to construct some chips that can be sent to China. That was I believe, last week or the week before, so that's pretty recent. But yeah, with regards to these EVs, this is yet another hurdle, another aspect of the U.S. And some competition concerns with regards to China. So yeah, if EVs are coming in, Chinese EVs, there will be tariffs. Although the Chinese EVs, like I mean, now we're having a bit of an inside day, but it was moving up earlier today. I haven't looked at XPeng. Does X mark the spot? No, not really. It's like, oh, what is the, oh, it's a 1 day. I was on the daily. I was like, why is it moving this much? There we go, 5 minute. Yeah, I mean, not much. Also still pretty inside. Let's see if we break this 1394 bottom. But yeah, very interesting look. And yeah, you're right. Like the tariff stuff was really interesting. That's why I put it on the watch list, because all those US EVs were driving fast and furiously to the upside. Yeah.
Yes, the pun queen is back in action, baby.
Should I be the
All right, Mullen back up to the high side, guys. Now up over 115%. That halt at 15.5 being bought up immediately. We're dancing on the door of 17 again as we make our way possibly back into that 1870. Looking to curl here, it looks like. Let's see if it's able to make a higher high. And I mean, that's really what we're looking for the trend to continue after that down halt. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red candles to the downside, and now we've got 4 green candles to the high side here on the 1 minute chart on MULN, trying to hold 17 as a level of support, but breaking through these levels awfully quickly here. It's a little spready at times, like right now it just opened up into almost 20 penny spread between the bid and the ask, and there we go, right back below 17. So a little bit of a bamboozler, but not bad, especially where we started out the day, quite frankly, which was like, where was that? Exactly where we started the day? Around $7, give or take, right? And yeah, we had a big, what was that mover that we had like 800% yesterday? What was it called?
Oh, Pole, yeah, sorry, pole vaulting.
Pole, and then we have MULN, MSAI, there was another one, SMFL, all of them are running triple digits today. So they come in waves like we've been saying, but trading them a lot easier than observing, a lot harder, pardon me, than observing that they come in waves. So these small cap gappers, be careful with them because they're awfully volatile.
Yeah,
Why brothers? Mullen, I lost money by reverse split. Totally, I don't get any shares, scammers. I'm not sure why that would happen, because you're supposed to have the same amount of equity before and after the split, whether a reverse split or a regular split. Not exactly sure what you mean by that. Are you talking about settlements? No, because they split, so it won't be in his account today. Oh, okay. So because they've split, the money is not in your account today. But I'm assuming that it will be at some point. So just hang on tight, baby. On new view, Mullen to 20 plus bucks. Yeah, not far off, $1.30 from the $20 area. So we'll see if we get that break. Ponzi Fonzie, what's the TVR Tuscan Speed 6 trade, bro? I have no idea, man. We're moving down aggressively here on the future. We're knocking on the door of 16.8, and we're just awfully close to that level. Keep your eye on that 16.8 level because the overnight low is 16.790 a day.
Yeah, that is yeah, I know that what I was distracted by the lovely Sean animation just popping up there. But yeah, the market is moving to the downside. There we go. Thank you. I love that one so much. But yeah, there's the it's like he's literally like, you know, coming up with an idea. But here I pulled up IREN again. This was a crypto mining name that it was Iris Energy, and this one also there was a catalyst. Its expansion has now been fully funded. I normally don't trade small caps, or at least I haven't in a while, but this one came to my attention while I was doing the small cap recap this morning. I also saw it popping up on volume, and I liked that. I know like the big thing I learned last week with regards to entries and exits from Sharif was the small caps have to be above VWAP usually, not like have to, but like, you know, it's a helpful rule. They're above VWAP and they broke the pre-market high. Yeah, it took about 2 seconds to fulfill both of those, and this one kind of continued to be pretty strong. I actually DCA'd this, and I usually do not DCA, so this is a big day for me. But I mean, I say that, and yet I'm like, we literally took a teeny tiny share size. Got out part of it. We had this beautiful pump up to 740, and then we never saw that again. So I took part of this here. The rest of it I got out about a whopping 3 cents in the money. No, I'm joking, it's fine. You know, I'm just trying to trade and practice trading different things, you know what I mean? But yeah, it worked out well, no complaints about this trade. It was nice to have practice, you know, having a trade. And again, I'm still in the sim, so I'm just really trying to take the I guess the possibility or the opportunity. I'm taking the opportunity to trade different kinds of names. I'm really happy I got this experience trading this little tiny small cap crypto miner today. And yeah, I'm happy it worked out. You know what I mean? I have no complaints here. Also, I think we'll all be shocked to hear I'm still looking at Tesla. I say that very facetiously. We had this kind of Christmas tree retracement here, basically from a little bit after open. We also had a double top, sort of fulfilled. If we pick up again here, if we actually do see kind of a pickup here at this 251 area, which interestingly was kind of where we were dancing around the pre-market just a little bit. This 251 could be an area off which we bounce off for a long. I'm always going to be looking at this 253.60 though all day because this was clearly the high, and I do like this 251 area as an area for me planning my ranges and getting in and out and picking up, figuring out how it's all going to go down. But I am not perturbed by a potential Tesla trade. I'm keeping an eye on that. Netflix also kind of rangy in a way that I enjoy here. Oh, that is not the right Netflix. But yeah, keeping an eye on some stuff for sure. Yeah.
Brian A says, I ended with 6 shares of Mullen after the split with my average of $250. Mullen poor management ruined us long-term investors, says Brian A. I'm sorry to hear about that, man. Hopefully they'll be able to turn things around and you can print off that. Zoltan adding to his triple Q short. Shout out to Zoltan calling the bull trap earlier in the chat. Nick Dubb, 20 bucks. Oh, geez Louise.
What? Oh my God.
Nick Dubb, 20 bucks. Hey, Sharif, here's 4 ingredients for protein balls. I've recently been doing keto. I used to be a professional tennis player, plus record started, what? Recently started swing trading. Oh, because he's doing all that because there's a maximum amount you can put in text, plus day trading. Appreciate all you do. Merry Christmas, Sharif, Adara, Sean, Neil, and Brendan. Thank you very much, Nick Dubb, for the $20 super chat. I hope you have fantastic holidays, and if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you, and hopefully we'll see you in the new year there. The Chilean Nightmare putting up Nick Dubb's super chat there. Thank you very much. Mullen halted again to the downside, this time again, second halt down. 83.13% halted at that 1465. I'm looking at the tap. The tap shows 1465, so nothing really changing there. That's the second down halt for Mullen. I think there was 5 up halts coming in to that $14 area. VWAP on my chart's right at 13 bucks. So we're gonna have to see if Mullen can actually hold VWAP here in the move down that it's now making. Two lower lows, 2 lower highs off that 1870 top. For now, we'll see whether or not we can get a bounce from this area. But right now, you've got a bit of a downtrend. We'll see if this is kind of like a bull flag and holds at 13, or whether or not we get that mean reversion trade to the downside. Not much happening in my world here. Anything, any trade ideas you guys got, throw it in the chat, baby. Anwar wants us to look at Blackberry. Sure, let's have a look at Blackberry. I know they just reported. Have a look here. So it was a mixed report for Blackberry from what I had up on my, let me just see if I can load that. Do I have it over here? Is that it? I think this is, no. So let me load that. Yeah, it was interesting because I was reading an article this morning on Blackberry because of earnings, and it's not as bad as we think here.
Yeah, it wasn't. I thought it would have. Yeah. It would have been a worse time.
Here's what I wrote for Blackberry. Let me see. All right. A rash of data breaches really hurt this one. Okay, no, it's going to actually help it. The data breaches at MGM with the casinos, remember that when you couldn't use the elevators, MGM, Caesars, that helped boost demand for BlackBerry's cybersecurity unit in the 3 months that ended November 30th. So that was a positive, unexpected positive move. However, there was another unexpected positive move here that they reported a per share profit of 1 cent per share. Total sales grew by 3.6% to 175 million. I can't believe this company is only making 175 million in the quarter, with almost 2/3 of this amount deriving from the cybersecurity division. They've also put their, they want to split They wanted to actually split their Blackberry Internet of Things, the IoT division, and have that launch as an IPO. They put that on the back burner for now. They said the update comes after Blackberry scrapped plans for an initial public offering of its Internet of Things division earlier this month, although it is still aiming to separate the Internet of Things and cybersecurity business into standalone entities. It looks like those are the businesses that are doing well. Everything else seems to be more like they're selling their IP. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Big gap down yesterday for BlackBerry, though, closing out at that $4.10 area, and then it opened up this morning at $3.88. If you want to come to the chart, if you're able to, please. Put in BB. I remember when this was called RIM. Do you remember when it was called RIM?
I remember. Well, I know from the movie, yeah, because I did.
Yeah,
right, Research in Motion, yeah. Someone also mentioning here.
I just need to finish my analysis here. So
sure.
the BlackBerry 1 hour chart looks like that we do have some decent support here at that 340, 3 1/3 area where we bottomed out in October. So that big move down, if we continue to move down, look for possible support at 3 1/4, 3 1/3. This is the hourly chart. This takes us back to June. So we are at recent lows here. Let's go to the daily and see if we are year lows. Let's see over here. So this takes us back to Jan. No. So the low in January of this year came into that 3 1/4, 315 area. So we're still well off the lows, but we did make a lower low, right? Because we were incrementally making higher lows here, and then you had the break. So yeah, kind of a hard stock to really analyze here from a technical perspective. It's kind of range bound. You can see what the moving averages are doing too. There's umpteen amount of crossovers and cross ups between these moving averages, showing that there's really no discernible trend for BlackBerry. So I personally wouldn't trade it. I'd stay away from it even for a swing trade. Can't really discern what it's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say too, there was, I think, Fat Figa in the chat mentioning BlackBerry and all the patents. Yeah, that was like a huge thing as well with the patents. That was, yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, thank you for that analysis. I also think too, it's interesting that a big thing I learned yesterday is with regards to the moving averages actually having to kind of be moving in the, like not having the crossovers and in a certain order and kind of to confirm trends sometimes. Not yesterday, I think it was the day before. But yeah, with regards to moving average and trends, I think that's a big thing I'm going to keep my eye on. And it was something maybe ignorant of me, I wasn't aware of before. So excited to, keep an eye on that. I did just get into this Nvidia long that I may not be in for a long time, pun sort of intended. I want to see what we do with this 85-80 area. I took a really small share size here, I have to say. Just because I've been saying this lately, I've been taking less and less shares, especially like first couple trades of the day, especially mega caps, because they don't care about your feelings and they don't care how many shares you have. So I'm like, we may as well dip our toe into it, you know what I mean, before doing like a full swim. But yeah, I'm keeping my eye on this level. It looks like we might be dipping below my comfort zone, in which case I will be outie. But yeah, why I picked this level too is, we have like pretty much a flat bottom that we kind of continue dancing off of. Although now when I look at and zoom out a bit more, maybe it's a flat bottom break. When in doubt, zoom out. Shout out to Neil. I probably should have done that. But well, yeah, it looks like we're kind of bouncing off this 450, 486. So yeah, let's see how we do. Oh, this is interesting. James Dell, is there a term for year high, year low, year open, and current close price, and average of those four? I am not aware of a term for that, but that's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah. Quite cool. I just look at the year to date. What's the year? I look at the 52-week highs, 52-week lows. That's on my watch list. For all my watch list components, I have the following data points. The change percentage on the day, so that starts at 4 a.m. The change percentage since open, so that starts at 9:30, and the actual change dollar value. And then the volume, I look at what the amount of shorts that are available. I also look at the PE, the beta, and then the after hours move, the year to date percentage. So is it up or down year to date, and then the 52-week high and the 52-week low. We'll get to that on the week that we do scanners and watch lists and stuff. But those are the different columns that I have on my watch list. Interesting look here on some of these mega cappers. I'm specifically looking at Google and Softy. It looks like these ones want to head a little bit more south. Google, an interesting look here at this 139. I don't want to jump into it willy-nilly, but it looks as if we are making lower lows, lower highs on a lot of these Mag 7 names. So maybe time to bamboozle our way into a trade if you're able to come to the chart. On these names, look at this. You're getting kind of a flat bottom break through these levels over here, and you're getting softy coming into that 370 as well. You're getting that 139.50 on Google, the 250.50 on TSLA, and the 150.50 on AMZN. These are all levels that you're continuing to print lower highs and lower lows. So possibly nice entry here on some of these names, Adara.
Yeah, thank you so much to, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Diraj Garapati for the $100 super chat. Thank you so much. So the message is thanks Trader TV Live for daily market insights. I learned a lot from you. Appreciate all you do. Merry Christmas, Sharif, Adara, Sean, Neil, Brendan. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. We are so grateful, and that's a lovely message. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you very much for that. That is very kind, very, very grateful for that. Always looking to interact with people in the chat. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Any other comments or questions you guys want us to look at? Anything in specific? Just put it in the chat for Adara and I, and we would love to look at it. MULN squeezing up again. Oh, there it is. Halted to the high side again is MULN. Looks like it's halted at 1608. Ooh. The tap, though, a little bit lower than the closing print over here. Tap showing at 1571. So slated to open lower, still holding within this downward channel, bouncing off 14 to the T, that previous halt level. So the halt levels come in as support and resistance like we were talking about in that week on small caps. But there you go. Bounce above 16 again, but for the moment, slated to open lower. Who's long Mullen since Comp SRX1? Who's long Mullen? Who's long Mullen? Let's see what else is being talked about here. Sharif, from chart perspective, why shorts are easy on future today? Sometimes you just get continuation with the move that we had yesterday on in the close. I think it was started at 2:30. When did it start?
I think it started around 2:30. I think around when you left.
Yeah. So just continuation from yesterday, whether or not, it's because of 0 days to expiry options or profit taking, tax loss harvesting, whatever other options there are, we're selling off, which is fine because we had 9 green days in a row and basically a month and a half of upside momentum. So this is normal. Nick Dubb, can you guys check out mRNA and CVX? How you want to look at mRNA? I'll look at CVX.
I was looking at mRNA slightly earlier, so I have a little bit fresher in my mind. This is an exciting time. I'm going to look at the daily first. As I kind of mentioned earlier, we were in an upward trend. I think it was Kevy in the chat that mentioned this. mRNA in an upward trend. Do we have any news on this little guy? We do not. So, but yeah, in an upward trend, then we kind of got to this little nice top here around 92.40, fell off. We're kind of holding this 90.80 area pretty well. We'll have to wait and see how we go. It could be, shout out to Randy, a Christmas tree retracement, but we'll have to wait and see and find out. Looks like it's trying to make a little bit of an arm movement up here. Let's look at the daily on this guy. Yeah, so as I think I was saying earlier too, it's interesting because I think this mRNA, I think it'll be interesting because we kind of look like we're mimicking this candle we had to the downside October 17th. We have almost the same range here today to the upside, which is kind of interesting, which I think if we're going to, I mean, obviously it's not exact, but I think if we're going to use this chartistry to put, you said chartist earlier today, Sharif, so I'm going to say chartistry. If we're going to apply chartistry to this, 86.70 to about 92, I think this candle's slightly higher. But the point I'm trying to make is I think this October 17 candle could give a decent idea of a range. We had about the same bottom yesterday as we do today. So I think, yeah, like keeping an eye on that for the daily chart. Moving out though, yeah, Moderna not looking like it's trying to correct from a bit of a downward trend movement starting early October of this year, trying to make a move back to the high side. In order to do so, I would say we'd have to pretty much eclipse this 103, 105 area we had that crest at from about the first week of October. So yeah, really interesting look on Moderna. Very much up on the day, and yeah, I think it looks like a pretty promising uptrend, especially after that Merck news with Moderna and the Keytruda that we had last week, right? So I think if we can break this 105 area, could be of interest.
12:30.
It is. I was thinking about that. You know what 12:30 time is? Let's shout out Benzinga, as Sharif puts it, my favorite platform. I love Benzinga. Look, Thursday's Economic Digest. Things you can get with Benzinga.
There you go.
And so, yeah, we are brought to you, as you know, by Benzinga. If you can sign up today, actually, for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders with code TTV, capital letters. That is, one more time, TTV with capital letters. So yeah, just use the link in the description to go to checkout. Look, you can find Jim Cramer's advice on capitalizing stock market gains in a bull market. Who knows? Like so many things here on Benzinga.
No, but show them the Pro.
I was just gonna pull it down, yeah.
Because like everybody can see that one, right?
Yeah, but
not
look,
everybody can see this one.
It's in all black.
There you
know,
go.
like an Amex card. It's all fancy. Look, you can see I pulled up Moderna. We have like all these updates. Oh, what? Like, you know, if you invested $1,000 in this stock 10 years ago, you'd have like there's so many insights. Lots of like, you know, you hear about options, you know what's moving when other people don't because you have your Benzinga up. That is, yeah, that's my little Benzinga plug there. I did not realize you were in a Google short. But
yeah, we'll see what we get here. Looking for the move into VWAP, possibly adding dollar cost averaging at VWAP just in front of that 140. But the market rocketing up at the moment now, breaking through 16,850. So nice bounce back on the market. Not good for the shorts at the moment, but yeah, we'll see if it's a dead cat bounce. We're still definitely within the lower highs set on the NQ, no question about that. Really haven't made any higher highs. In fact, just been lower highs, lower lows. Come to the chart, please. Lower highs, lower lows on these bad boys. You have a downward channel on the NQ. Nothing has changed. If you want to play the range, I guess, the range is there to be played until it's not. So we'll have to wait and see what we get on the NQ. But yeah, it's been more of a down day. Even though we are up 0.5 percentage point on the NQ, the most of the bulk of the move was done overnight as opposed to any time during this morning. So Sharif says Nimit. Mullen giving me a heart attack. You and I both, man. I'm not involved in this one. I'm staying away from it. It's open again, guys. Here we go on MULN, back above 16. Looks like it broke out of this rudimentary channel that I had drawn here. Let's see if it can break through this high over here at 17 and a third. That's what we're looking for on MULN. 16 and a third break. That makes a higher high. So yeah. Be quick with the keys on this one, though, if you're going to get in and get out, unless you have like a fantastic price from like one of these previous halts here at $9 or $11, because it moves awfully quickly and awfully aggressively, and it can often be very illiquid at these levels. There we go. Here comes that 17.5. Does it take 17.5 though, and really rock it up? Look how spready it is now. It's like 20 penny spread on Mullen. Wow. Okay. I'm only used to this one trading at 10 pennies. I mean, weren't we looking at it the other day? It was like 8 pennies or 10 pennies? What was it? Yeah.
But it was like this one, Mullen decided it was not going to mull on those lower levels anymore. It says we're in the mood for some big boy moves. Shout out to
Exactly. Yeah. We'll see. But, rejecting 17.50 for now, but dipping below 17. Awfully volatile, still up well over 100%. We have multiple triple-digit small-cap gappers today, MSAI among them, as well as SMFL. That one is up 200-some-odd%, but giving a lot back since the open. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see this Google trade added at VWAP on Google on the short. Let's see if we get that continuity. If it breaks 140, decidedly I'm going to get out of this trade. Looking for the rejection of VWAP on Google. Shout out to the Obi. I think he's back there with the mad one as well. And they're chatting up a storm, probably talking about some. Oh, there they are. They have no idea that they're on, but that's fine. That way they can act naturally in the wild, like discussing. In the wild. Yeah, they're discussing their trades.
So I love how organized Obi's set up.
Yeah, it is quite robust.
Robust, I love that word.
Shout out to the Ob1 and Kano Badera.
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Go.
So this is maybe like, I don't want to use the word dumb question, but I don't know if
There's no such thing.
I appreciate that. So with stuff, with like these volatility halts, like what we have with Mullen, I know they're usually like 5 minutes, like kind of what you just said, but is there like a reason that a stock will have a volatility halt? Or is it just 10%. Like too much movement or?
So if it moves up 10% within 5 minutes, it gets halted.
Okay, that's good to know. So there is a rule.
Yeah, it's a halt parameter, yeah. And there's other halts, And remember I showed you how to go on the NASDAQ website and to find out what the reason for the halt is? Oftentimes I'll get it on my blotter, it'll say volatility halt, or it'll say news pending halt, but there are other reasons it can be halted. So for example, if the stock's moved up aggressively and there isn't a catalyst to justify the move up, the exchange will actually call up the company and be like, yo, what the hell's going on over there?
Make sure that everything's like legit.
Yeah. And they'll halt the stock until they actually get the news to come out. So it's happened multiple times. People have been stuck in trades for like days because of this. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that to me. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I forgot that they do have the NASDAQ website that was really helpful to get to see where you can actually look at what is halting. And
Alex Enzo wants me to explain the SSR rule to you as well, which is a short still restricted. So when a stock is above or below 10% from the previous day's close, it's short still restricted, meaning that you will only be able to short it on an uptick, not a downtick. So you'll have to wait for the stock to curl back up to get filled on the ask, not on the bid, for you to be able to get short. And the reason they do that is they don't want people piling in and having stocks crash. So that's a short still restricted.
Really cool.
And oftentimes what you'll see is look at Chilean Nightmare, come to the screen. Thanks. So you'll see here SSR and there's an N beside it for no.
No.
And then sometimes you'll see where there'll be a Y, it'll be yes.
That's
so that
really
is
cool.
what short sale restricted is. All right, we're doing nicely here on Google. Let's see if we can get that big move up. So we did get that nice rejection right at VWAP. Now what I'm looking for is a flat bottom break through this 139.60-ish area. We need a new low here because we seem to keep finding buyers around this area, even though we did reject off that VWAP area. The market is finding a bit of a bounce now, although it is quite an anemic bounce, to be honest with you, at 16,854 on the NQ. So we'll see if we get that move down, because it looks like Google and the market moving a little bit in tandem at the moment. So we'll have to wait. Short smeller. What's the difference between, I know, isn't that funny? The Chilean Nightmare like that one. What is the difference between halted and suspended? Mullen has been showing suspended on my charts. I don't know, maybe your broker calls it suspended rather than halted, but I don't know. I don't know if there is a difference. Maybe Google it, but my understanding is it's just halted. Mullen hasn't been suspended on my charts today. It's just been halted like it regularly would be if it had moved up that aggressively.
Yeah.
So that's it there. Buy. Okay, I got to read these comments before I read them out loud. Yeah, not much else. BETS. You want to have a look at that? Says Boris.
Let's place a bet on bets.
I like that.
Okay, this one is this is like a little teeny tiny baby stock. 318 million. Holy cow! 0.00048 right now. That's what we're trading at. Yeah, this is a very clear flat bottom here at 0.4 cents. Yes, so I'm not really good at analyzing these ones that are like the little babies.
BETS?
Yeah.
Sure, let's look.
So 0.004 is where we had that flat bottom. I will say this pretty clear flat bottom here. Then we had this movement. We kind of were a little bit consolidative around the 0.0047, 0.0048 area. Then we kind of shot up. I would say next level of interest for me would be this 0.0051 area, and I say that because this is where we kind of had a little bit of barcoding earlier. Right. That could be a nice area to break above.
What I don't like is anything like long related. Just look at this downtrend. Let's go to 15. I mean, well, there you go, right? We obviously had a lot of outsized action here at Adara on December 1st, 4th, 5th, and then we were really settled down on the 6th there. But since that time, it's been lower highs and lower lows. You really need to get something above the area where we're trading at right now. Look for something like the break of yesterday's high or the break of the previous day's high. It's kind of hard to chart just because there's just so many lower highs and lower lows on this chart, but pick one and, or use a moving average like the 50. It's been absolutely rejecting off the 50 on every attempt here on December 14th and the 15th. I don't know if it did prior to that. No, it was extended off the 50. Look for possibly a moving average curl, so the 10 to get above the 20 or the 20 to get above the 50 before punching long into BETS, but it has been very weak since, rocketed up there starting on December 1st. Looks like it was like in small cap gap world. Didn't show up on my chart though because it's only 5 pennies, and I screen for everything below 85 pennies. So you got to be above 85 pennies to make it up on my scanner. Otherwise, I'll have no idea you are here. JB, what happens to people's shares during a reverse split? Example, Mullen, if you only had 50 shares and it did 1 to 100. So it's like a reverse split. So, I mean, I'm assuming you're going to get less. For that, I mean, just Google it, right? Jay Lee, I'm planning to get a bunch of longer dated coin puts this level. Yeah, I already responded to you, Jay. I asked you, are you basing it on technicals or are you basing it on fundamentals? Because the technicals are all headed one way on that one, unless you're trying to mean revert. I don't know. I just don't want to stand in front of that freight train at the moment that Bitcoin is making. And it looks like coin is moving with Bitcoin. I was looking at the chart on Bitcoin this morning. A bull flag extraordinaire is forming there. So I'm not going to stand in front of that. But hey, man, I mean, you made money on Boyle several times while I held UNG for a loser. So what do I know? Do whatever you want, my man. You clearly know what you're doing. Tammy B says you get less shares with bigger prices, but the same value. Yannick flexing his sweater again, says Darwin. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see.
He's just behind you in the sweater. There he is.
Okay. Shout out to Yanni, and he's wearing a toque too.
It looks comfy.
All right, let's restart the lesson.
Let's do it.
Okay. So let me bring in my two futures trades over here. Not trades, charts. That's what I meant. And we'll load this bad boy up as the NQ so we can make a nice comparison between the future and the ETF. So we'll go to futures, and we're going to select March. And we want the 5 so that we can jive on both time frames, I mean. Yeah, just kind of trying to show how they look identical.
Did you say you want the 5 so you can jive? Is that what you said?
I didn't actually mean it that way, but yeah.
Well, sorry, I'm bad and I noticed.
Right, I know you love that. Okay, here we go. So what are the advantages of futures trading versus ETF trading? So we talk a lot about the Qs and the NQ, the SPY and the ES. So we're going to talk a little bit about why it's more advantageous to trade the futures rather than the actual ETFs themselves. Here's the first one, fee structure. One of the major advantages of futures trading as opposed to ETFs is the lack of a management fee. When you purchase a futures contract, you pay no management fee throughout the life of the contract, while with the ETF, you are usually charged a fee that equates to a small percentage of your balance, usually around 0.44%, nothing big there. In addition to that, there's usually a commission tacked on to each ETF trade. It depends on your broker, but it's generally around 15 bucks. Could be different now with all the payment for order flow stuff. For a small-time trader, these fees can certainly add up and eat at your bottom line. And if you're looking at taking advantage of intraday moves, this can add up every day, especially if you're trading it every day. So one of the major things to look at is how much you are paying in fees versus with the future versus the ETF. Make sure to be well apprised of that, especially with the different brokers. Accessibility. Now we know that the ETF market can possibly be a 24-hour market depending on your broker. I know IBKR, for example, provides me access to trade all the Meg 7 names after hours, 24 hours. However, the spreads are ridiculous. They're not good prices. You are likely not going to get a decent fill between those hours. They're really only appropriate for when there's breaking market news after 8 o'clock and before 4 a.m. And that's when I would really suggest taking advantage of that. And not all brokers offer that. However, futures trades almost 24 hours a day, save and except for that 1 hour period between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central, because we are talking about the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and they are on Central time. And that's essentially 6 days a week, while some ETFs offer only regular market hours trading. In 2019, there was a study done, and their liquidity on the futures trades was absolutely much, much higher than on the ETFs. Speaking of liquidity, another factor to keep in mind when deciding between futures and ETFs is the liquidity of each investment. When talking about investing and the stock market, liquidity refers to the ability of an asset, that an asset has to be quickly bought and sold in the market The more liquid an asset is, the quicker it can be bought and sold and bring immediate monetary value to its owner. Obviously, while ETFs offer good liquidity, it does not offer as much substance as the futures contracts. Now, look, we should probably kind of put in a caveat on what we're saying here, which is the triple Qs, the SPY, the ETFs that follow these indices, they're quite liquid, but that's not the case for all of these ones. I mean, you really have to look at some of the sector-specific ETFs, and you can see some of them do like 80,000, 100,000 shares a day. So getting in with large positions without a big spread can be challenging with some of these ETFs, whereas when you look at their futures contracts, the corresponding futures contracts to those sectors, you can see that there's obviously a lot more liquidity, a lot more notional value running through there. So that's something that you need to apprise yourself of before getting involved in that trade as well. Okay. Where was I here? Futures contracts are all made in far out trade in terms of dollars and much more, and offer much more substance than an ETF. For instance, because futures are traded so broadly and in such mass quantities, owning a futures contract allows you to buy or sell that contract on almost an instant basis. The market has so much volume and money in it, it can support this type of action, whereas an ETF may not be able to. Again, you need to look at the specific ETF that you're trading and compare that to the futures contract, the corresponding futures contract. It's not a hard and fast rule. Again, with the SPY and the triple Qs, they're going to be very well traded, and there's a great deal of liquidity there. The one that really attracts me, obviously, is tax benefits. Trading futures contracts also offers advantageous tax benefits. According to our dear friends at the IRS, Section 1256 of whatever statute they got going on over there, the hand in pocket statute, that's what they should call that.
HIP.
Yeah. A profitable short-term futures trade will pay less taxes than an ETF. Okay? A futures dividend is treated for tax purposes as 60% long-term and 40% short-term, which is a blended tax. So 40% of your gains are taxed at 35%, and 60% of your gains are taxed at 15%, which averages out to about a 23% average tax rate for the future. ETFs, on the other hand, are subject to the ordinary income tax rates, and those can add up quickly and eat out of some of your gains. And if you're in that higher tax bracket, you will feel that a lot more. So make sure, if you are active and you are profitable, that you are doing it the right way to, maximize your tax implications. So one of the more important things for me, especially for active traders and for day traders, volume. Futures contracts greatly outpace ETFs across the globe, partly because they have something to offer to every type of trader, big, small, or in between. When one looks at an average daily volume of futures in comparison with ETFs, they see that treasuries, crude oil, gold all trade roughly 20 to 600 times larger dollar value than a corresponding ETF. In fact, according to the CME Group, the E-mini S&P 500 futures contract outtrades all ETFs combined by 2.56 times. This was probably accurate at a moment in time. I don't know if it's exactly that ratio at the moment, but gives you an idea of just how much more money is flowing in to these futures trades. And here's the chart we were looking at earlier, Daryl.
Yeah.
Look at this. So futures, the E-mini, the futures does about $192 billion a year in trading, and compare that to the SPY, the SPY, that does about 19.6. So it's about a 9.8 times ratio. Correspondingly, the one that we're always in here, the NASDAQ 100, does about $23 billion in dollar volume per year, whereas the triple Qs, Invesco QQQ, does about 2.18 billion, so that's about 9 times volume. Look at gold, though. Look at the gold one.
That is nuts.
26.5 times more in the gold futures, the GC contract, than in the GLD ETF. So this is something I really did not have.
Look at the copper futures.
Yeah, see, that's not that popular, right? Like the ES, the NQ, even the Euro. I mean, so a lot of people trade Forex. I don't, but yeah, that's That's a really
I just
big
think the
difference.
ratio is nuts.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Like that.
Look at the treasuries. This 10-year note, geez, 669 times more in the futures than the IEF, which is the 10-year ETF.
That is wild.
I
I think it shows you like how much more volume and how much more action you're going to be getting in the futures, which is cool. Or sorry, yeah, in the futures.
Yeah, the Chilean Nightmare just asking me right now. He's like, is a higher ratio future better or low? I don't think it's better or lower, Fabian. All it's showing really is that the bigger money is trading the futures contracts, and I don't hate to call it this way, but smaller money is trading the ETFs. And that's all that's really that this is showing. So if you want to follow what the institutional money is doing, it's definitely behind, it's with the futures contracts rather than anything else. So put that one out there. And last but not least, Dara, leverage. With futures, you can control more of a commodity like gold or corn, etc., than you can with ETFs. This ability to control more of a commodity allows for the ability to create increased gains. In order to see a net gain in ETFs, you have to see a lot of movement in the price, which is kind of rare. In futures, because you own such a large volume of a commodity, you don't need to see as much of a movement to create a net gain. Of course, this works in the reverse. And if it swings the other way, it makes it a lot easier to lose money. It's a heavily leveraged product. Steph was talking about this while she was on. She was telling you what each tick meant, how much that was in dollar value. So you need to apprise yourself. Each futures contract is different. The tick on the ES is different than the tick on the NQ. So because both of them are heavily levered, but however, each tick is always a little bit different. So make sure to apprise yourself there. Futures also track closer to the underlying product than ETFs. For example, an oil company stock will rise and fall with the price of oil, but there are other outlying factors that affect the stock price as well, thus creating a large variance in how the ETF tracks the underlying stock. So what do I mean by that? And the example I gave earlier was what's happening in the Red Sea. So when we saw, these attacks coming in on the shipping containers carrying oil, and we saw a nice bump up in the oil prices there may be a nice move up in the oil equities as well, but there may be specific concerns or specific things about the oil equity like XOM, CVX, Oxy, Devon, Marathon Petroleum. There may be stuff specific to them that isn't specific to the actual oil industry in general. So the ETF may not track that move up or move down in oil as closely or as well as the actual CL, which is the West Texas Intermediate Futures contract. So make sure you know about how those two are affecting the price of the stock before you get involved. So hope that helps. Any questions about any of that stuff, just tag Adara and I. Jay Lee says futures also suffer from slippage, which should be covered if you want. I don't know I don't really see that much slippage. I got to tell you the truth on the futures. It's almost always separated by a quarter point. So if I see a 0.75 print here, I'll almost always see a 0.5 print over here. That's not a hard and fast rule, but I have never really experienced the issue with slippage on the MNQ or the MES personally, but maybe Jay has a different experience there. Sharif, just take money and trade futures for me. Keep 3%. I'll lose all your money, bro. You don't want that. Trust me. All right, just moving down the chat here. How about futures tax implications for fellow Canadians? Can you cover that? Yeah, sadly, I don't have enough information about that. I should have definitely apprised myself of what the Canadian implications were, but have not done that. All the information that I have here is about the tax for our American friends, because we're doing a lesson for the viewers, which are mostly Americans.
Yeah, may I ask a question with regards to the leverage aspect, which I thought was really interesting, because I just covered this as well when I was taking my own kind of notes on futures in preparation for this lovely, exciting week. Yep. And so I guess then because they track more closely to the initial
to the actual commodity.
Yes, to the actual commodity. Does that make it more kind of volatile then? And I guess that does it impact how you impact your stop loss?
It could, and that's the point that I want to make. So what if the news catalyst comes in and it's company specific, right? So what if it's something to do with the actual XOM itself or CVX, but nothing to do with oil in general? You're going to have more movement, unpredictable movement because of the equity, right? So I would say that the futures contract that covers oil, the West Texas Intermediate or Brent, whatever you're trading, is the more real reflection of the current market status. Whereas if you're trading an ETF that holds oil companies, you're always going to be subjected to the specifics of those particular companies that move the ETF.
Okay, so basically, if I can kind of translate that and put that a different way, just to make sure I understand it. Thank you. So it's you're not just trading the entity itself. You're trading the entity and its surrounding equities, and that's why you kind of run into issues because you don't know if it's moving because of the entity itself, because of oil, or if it's moving because. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Brendo just sent me a message. It looks as if that Aunt Kathy will be speaking live with our friend Elon Musk today at 5 p.m. on X Spaces. So all the Aunt Kathy fans, make sure to, and Elon Musk fans too, obviously. And when I say Elon, I'm joking, guys. Will be today, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X Spaces. Spaces is that audio only thing, right? Pretty sure it is.
I'm not sure. I don't
even know if it's audio only or if it's video as well. But yeah, Elon Musk and Kathy Wood, obviously of ARK ETF. Speaking of ETFs, right?
Yeah, right. Perfect timing.
They will be on today, guys. Make sure to check them out. Chuck of All Trades, did anyone explain the difference between futures versus ETFs? I was away from my desk. If not, can you explain? You can just rewind. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube. So I just finished the lesson. I started about 15 minutes ago. So just go back about 15 minutes and look for the fee structure thing to be highlighted red. And then you can just start the lesson from there.
Yes.
Yeah. That should pump the stock, says Patrick Langlois. So we'll keep an eye on Tesla. I'm not sure that this is going to be market moving, quite frankly, here. But yeah. Move down on the future again as we move down into that 16.825. Sadly, Google finding some strength here, whereas the market is showing weakness. Google holding up here, so looks like I'm break even on this trade for now. It's been kind of moving sideways, no flat bottom break. Maybe I should have traded Apple. Apple looks awfully weak today off that news. Yeah, well, the dead one I meant like in the sense that
it's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. Today it's doing plenty, baby.
That is true. It's more
down.
Like the zombified one, I guess.
Yeah, Apple definitely a downward channel after that big move down. So Apple continuing to suffer the weakness of this latest headline about the international. What was it called? The International Court or something?
The ITC, the International Trade Court.
Yes. Yeah. The U.S. International Trade Court, who basically disallowed their appeal, their stay pending appeal, because they do plan on appealing it. Their ban of using the oxygen, the blood oxygen measuring functions on some of their wearables, because they basically. They took it from another company called Masimo, and they're all up in arms about that. The owner or the CEO of Masimo was on a network the other day, and he basically said that he reached out to them for a merger, and they met with him. And then once they met with him, they went and poached all his staff. They stole people from his company.
That's great. I need to read more into this.
Yeah. So it looks like Apple did some underhanded stuff, according to this man. And then even after they did that, he reached an olive branch again to kind of be like, okay, well, let's fix this. You've stolen everybody from me, but let's fix this. And they just basically shunned him, didn't return his call, and they ended up in court. So
that sounds like literally like the whole Mark Zuckerberg thing. Like this sounds crazy, this whole drama. I mean, I need to read more into this.
Yeah. So
crazy.
Rumsey Bedawi was asking what's going on with Apple. That's what I was just explaining there. Also, it's tough for them because they've got to sell some of these. They got to stop selling some of these Apple watches. Today it starts on their website. Sunday in store. You won't be able to buy the Apple Watch Series 9 or the Apple Watch Ultra 2. They will not be available for sale in North America. Or I don't know if it's North America or just the United States as of Sunday in store, but today online.
Yeah. Also, I was just looking at this really funny interaction here in the chat with, believe it was James Dell mentioning that here, I get it now. Sean's shirt is the Grinch. I thought it was the Hulk, LOL. And then Bears versus Bulls coming back here with he's Hulk smashing some trades. And then James Dell saying, you're a mean one, Mr. C. I just had to, I love that interaction. You know, it's the holiday season. Indeed over here. We're red and we're green on the stocks. I want to talk through my Nvidia trade earlier because why not? We had this flat bottom break now, but when I was in it, it was long. And I have to say, you know, I was pleased as punch with how this went. This was one of those scalpulation type moments. I got in at the round where the flat bottom was, more or less. I could have gotten a little bit lower, but I said if we break that 486, I'm outie. We did not break the 486, so I was not outie. I stayed in the trade, and then I wanted my out. I took my out not just because it was VWAP, although that actually coincidentally ended up being where it was. I took my out because it was $1 in, so it was a dollar trade also, you know, was in the sim here. So I did get this dollar trade in the sim, but the reason I took it here too is because I did see that we were having lower highs. So I wanted to be cognizant of the fact that A, this bottom is not broken yet, but B, that does not mean that I'm going to get everything I wanted out of this trade. I did not think it would get to 489, so I didn't want to give it that much. I just took it out at 487.50. Pretty happy with this trade. It is what, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and complain. Like I said, I've been saying this the last couple of weeks, the scalpier I am, the happier I am, and I think the better my trading is. And as I'm in the sim working to find a strategy that works for me, to find consistency, I feel like I'm most consistent in scalping, so that's what I'm going to stick with, I think, for the time being. So I just wanted to talk through that trade. So let's look at IREN. That was the little small cap. This one was moving earlier, small cap minor. Oh, okay, IREN trying to have a little bit of a resurgence. High of day was 745, so let's see if we can break above this. This one is the little small cap that could, I have to say. We're up about 34% on the day, and I say that because a lot of small caps, as Sharif put very astutely, a lot of these small caps, pretty much all the action will be occurring in the pre-market, right? So in this case, we do have a small cap that's continuing to A, break pre-market high, pretty much broke pre-market high right at open, and B, above VWAP, doing quite nicely. Also, this is, I think, kind of an interesting area too, because this is where we had pretty much that at the end of that, I would argue a bit of a bull flag pull here, bull pennant. And then that was the area off of which we bounced as well. So it's kind of interesting. I have to say, I think this area of this $7, $7.10 range could be kind of significant for Irene here, or IREN. Iris Energy is the name of this Bitcoin miner. They had, they completed funding for one of their new projects. So that is what's going on with this one. Looks like we could be breaking high of day. Look at this one go. Also, what else am I, let's look at Microsoft, because Microsoft is a skosh interesting right now on my side chart here. Yeah, Microsoft, pre-market, we kind of looked like we were trying to go higher. Then we basically had a big, to borrow Sharif's term, quadunk, swooped down right at open. And then by 10:05, we got here, kind of tried to recover a little bit, flew back to the downside. Then we had this really bizarrely flat consolidation bottom of this 374. Now we're picking up. I'd like to see what we do in this 371.20, 371.80 range. And I say that because that's where we were consolidating earlier. That would be a range that would be of interest to me. So yeah, so here we go. Really interesting look on Microsoft. This is one of the craziest flat consolidation bottoms and then pickups I have seen in quite some time. But yeah, look at Microsoft. I'm very happy with that Nvidia trade. We're kind of getting back into that area of interest for me with Nvidia, which is that 486. But I'm going to keep my hands off Nvidia for now because I do not know. I don't want to get Nvidia until I know where it's going, for sure.
I like that.
Thank you. It was. I don't know if there's much to like there, but I appreciate that. But yeah, so Nvidia is still something I'm looking at. Also, always looking at Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Out of that Google trade, took an L. Second L of the day on, well, second L, one dub. But yeah, not a good Google trade there. Probably took the wrong one short, as it's definitely holding up better than the others at that 1.25%, taking VWAP through, also taking that 140 level through. So did a bit of a consolidation below VWAP, but it's kind of like flipping a little bit above, a little bit below. Now it's going to do its little dance above. With respect to the future, coming back into that key support level that we were at in the morning, it's around that 16 16.8 and 2/3. Like we kind of had some support around there, bounced above VWAP, breaking down. Now we're actually finding this level as a level of resistance on the future, just a smidge above that 16.850. So kind of moving sideways here as we move into 1 o'clock. We're about 104. Power hour coming up. Hopefully more movement to the up or downside. Some more volatility is needed because we have just kind of been, you know, the midday has just been kind of like moving sideways a little bit here, but we'll have to see what we get the rest of the day on the future and some of these other corresponding names. Ooh, that's a nice little dark wick that absolutely tainted the chart here. Let's see what we're asking here. Anything interesting? I wish I could have shorted Mullen, says Anuview. What is Mullen doing? I haven't looked at Mullen in a minute. What happened to my Mullen chart?
Is it still Mullen over at sensitive direction?
It's still making lower lows and lower highs. So it's still, that downward channel is still intact. So it's giving up the ghost here. Now, the question is it above or below VWAP? It's just holding on to VWAP. So this is an interesting look on Mullen. Let me show you the chart over here. Let's bring it in the side chart. On MULN. Yeah, doing a little nice VWAP hold at the moment. All the wicks south of VWAP at around 1350 are getting bought up for now. But goodness, who knows for how long as we continue to make lower highs and lower lows at there. So a bit of a tougher look there.
Yeah.
So yesterday I picked up my car from the mechanic because he put it on my winter tires.
Oh, I remember part of the saga. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to wait for this appointment almost a month. All right?
Pardon?
Yeah. Right, because everybody was tied up. I had some people come into my house like that do mobile, but they couldn't do it because my rims are so big. They're 22-inch rims, right? So they couldn't get the machine around the actual rim. So I took it to this guy. I told him, look, they're bigger rims. You need to be careful. Do you have the machine to be able to do these? He's like, yeah, I do this all the time, this, that, and the other. So I go this morning, there's dust on my rims. Not this morning, yesterday when I got back. There's dust on my rims, so I can't really see. They're not clean, so you can't really see them very clearly. So I'm dusting them off because it looked like the tires were too small because my tires are staggered. The ones in the back are bigger than the ones in the front. Cool. So I thought he put them backwards. So I'm sitting there analyzing the wheels. I'm looking at the tires. Lo and behold, he scratched every single one of my rims. And you could tell there's no curb rash. It's not like there's a scratch to the side. It's like you could tell they were clamps that went on. Oh, so you didn't
have big enough machine.
Yeah, exactly. And so he screwed up my car, and now he's gonna have to pay. So I was talking to him this morning, and thankfully he has a body shop, so he's gonna do it for free. But yeah, it just teaches you, pay more and get the work done properly. I took my stuff to this guy before, and he never screwed it up, but.
Yeah, it sounds like he was a bit too ambitious with those rims.
Hulk smash, says Darwin. No Hulk smashing here, man. We're just going to be chilling. Otherwise, we're not going to get anything from this man. So the Skip 8. Sharif got chrome spinners. Definitely not. What are we, in 2005? Come on, bro. Spinner, says James. Oh, why is everyone thinking spinners, man? Oh, my goodness. Moonlights as a drug dealer, says Rushaba Shah. Sure, okay, whatever floats your boat, bro. Short smeller, went through something like that, but they tore the bead on the tires. Yeah, that's really bad, because that's not fixable, especially with the sidewalling of some of these tires, man. It's no good there. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Why not, man? I know your thing got blocked there, but yeah, absolutely. It's pay the man, pay the money. That was kind of what I took out of this whole thing. I waited for this guy because he was giving me a really good deal. It was 150 plus HST. Everywhere else was like 200 something, right? Because they were big rims.
Yeah.
And so this guy is, I'll do it. No, he screwed it up. So that's what I learned.
That is, yeah. I mean, also, what is the beat of a tire? Because I do not know.
I don't know either.
Oh. I thought it was like a known thing.
I wanted to pretend like I knew, so I wouldn't.
So I wasn't trying to like flex. I legitimately, I don't drive, so I was just curious.
Can you talk about how salary works as an employee at Trader TV? Is it purely on profits, or do you guys also have base salary? I'm not going to get into that. That's not for me to speak about right now. Let's see what else people are talking about. Rim clamp machine only, says Hurt Scrambler. Yeah, not like I really know what that is, but as long as it works and doesn't scratch my rims, I will be good with it. What do you guys think about 6% on nat gas move? Okay, so it looks like the inventories came in below. Yes, we are up 5.5% on the NG futures contract. Let me bring in the chart over here. And we are up over 6% on UNG itself. So NG, here it is. Harry, there we go. So this is the actual futures contract itself. Who's done more volume? This one's done more volume. Yeah, nice pump up there on the NG January contract after we got that. I think we got inventories around 10:30. Yeah, there we go. There's the move up right at 10:30. We got inventories. It looks like they were lower than expected, and nice move up. I've been out of this trade for a while. Sold my UNG for about $1.25 loss from the breakdown of 6. So I won't be getting back into nat gas anytime soon until I see a decided trend change. But you can only just look at the daily chart on nat gas, and the only reason I got in is 350 was holding like a T, and until it wasn't. I mean, these are literally one of, I think, all-time lows on, let's look at UNG for a second.
Quite the look.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at this. Let's go to the weekly. See if we've been down here. No, man, we haven't. Since UNG split 1 to 4 back in 2018, this is the lowest it's ever been. UNG I'm talking about, which is the US Nat Gas ETF, $4.65. It hasn't been lower than this. Let's go to the monthly. See if we get anything different on the monthly. No. This only goes back to 2018 as well, and this is the lowest it's ever been. Unseasonably warm winter is what everyone is saying is the reason we're having this ridiculous move down in nat gas. We'll have to see if that actually pans out. Nick Dubb, can you look at some of the oil stocks? Sure, you want to have a look at some of the oil stocks?
Yeah, let's start with sorry, XOM. I forget who I was reading about, but there was some mildly famous person who is actually like the grandson of the ExxonMobil guy, and I don't remember who it was. But every time I think of Exxon, now I think of this man whose name I can't remember. But yeah, this is a really interesting double top. And again, like I think a big thing I've learned since being on the midday is the importance of these like kind of pre-market levels sometimes. And I think, yeah, I mean, right at open, where did we come? We got to this pre-market high and we double topped, and then we took a big swoop to the downside. And we fell right past this earlier low. We made a nice, brand new, spanking new low on the day of $100.85, almost at 185. And I was like, that's a very different story entirely. Now it's interesting because now we're coming into that area of support we had earlier of this bottom of around 101.20. So I think what we do here shall be very interesting. Will it be support becoming resistance? It could be, because we are very much in a downward move on the day. We're pretty much also sticky note. Look at that. But yeah, I'd really like to see what we do here. I think that would be a key area of interest to me. So that's XOM. Let's look at CVX as well. Chevron, not the pattern, but the oil company. Also downward. This one's a bit, I would say, a bit funkier looking, for lack of a better term, than Exxon. We're more down in the day than we are in Exxon. But yeah, look at this. We had kind of a downward movement after a lot of consolidating, chop around in the pre-market. Move down. Now again, much like XOM, I think it'll be about if we can claim this key level. Can we make a higher high? Can we surpass 150 and 1 cent? Let's find, or sorry, 150 and 10 cents. Let's find out, because I think definitely so far we have been seeing lower highs, lower lows. I'd really like to see what we do here. Also, Roger mentioning Oxy in the chat. Let's do this. It'll be my last oil name. Let's look at Oxy here. Shout out to Warren Buffett and RIP Charlie Munger, who shares a birthday with me. Fun fact, or I guess shared. But yeah, this one's a bit more interesting, I have to say. So we had some upward movement here. We got to around this 1120. We got to around this 60.45, 60.50, probably like 60.48. Lots of chop and turn, lots of consolidation. Then we had a big quadunk, shout out to Sharif here. And we kind of fell slightly below where we had a little bit of a bottom earlier. So we fell slightly below at the 60.50 kind of area. Now we're seeing, I would say it kind of looks like a bear pennant, except it's not really, because we're still slightly up on the day. We're definitely seeing some consolidation in this 60.50, or sorry, 60.05, 60.15 range. So I think that has been really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good look on, interesting
we
look
know
on Oxy.
Uncle Warren is interested in that particular name at a particular level. And he's made no bones about the fact that he's been buying that on dips. I think he owns about 27% of the company now as he looks. He says he doesn't have He says he doesn't want to have a controlling interest, but his actions look like they may be a little bit different. So we'll have to see whether or not he actually ends up continuing to buy off there, or he, you know, ceases buying. We'll have to wait and see. Meta, people yelling about Meta in the chat, pumping up here. Yeah, not bad. It's still sub VWAP, still only 0.5% on the day. Here's a look on Meta, finding a bit of a base there at yesterday's close. Touches yesterday's close exactly at that 349.21 area, and then bounces right back up. So shout out whoever took that $1.50 in the money as it touches that closing print and then has a nice move back up. Let's see what it does with the 50 here. I mean, it's been having trouble with the 50 all morning at this particular level. Like, look where it touched the 50 here at 11:55. It touched the 50 again here at 11. All the 50 period the touches have been rejected. So we'll have to wait and see whether Meta can make a move up. Possibly VWAP here, maybe at 5.25 makes its way up there. Another possible rejection area, but for the moment, it does seem to respect the 50 for whatever reason. Meta looking to, you know, give back some of the very robust gains that it's had lately. Look at what Meta's been doing, guys. Meta has been akin to a rocket ship. Look at this $88 level on October of last year. No, but seriously though, look at this move up, guys. We made, this is not all-time highs. So this chart is a little messed up because it is, I think it's split adjusted. Let me just refresh this bad boy over here. Come on now. There we go. Okay, so Meta, all-time highs, guys, is 384. We made that July 2021. So here is all-time highs, and let me move the tag so you can see where we are on the day. We're awfully close. So we're in this consolidation range that we were in from, say, October 2021 to January 2022, where the top was exactly where we are right now, that 360 area. So let's break through this area. I mean, there's really nothing stopping Meta. The trend hasn't changed since October 2022. There have been no lower highs or any lower lows, especially on the weekly candle. If you're charting this on the weekly, this is as good as it gets on META, and especially with analysts looking into next year saying that the digital ad sales is going to continue to grow. Meta obviously stands to benefit off that the most, man. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Meta does the rest of the year.
Yeah, year of efficiency is right, apparently. Apparently Zuckerberg. Also, remember when that was trading below 300 for the Meta Connect event? Because that was only in like late September. And look at where we are now. Like Meta said, yeah, like you were laughing at me then when I sung during Meta Connect, and look at how far I've gone.
No, they've done really
like
well.
It's above 350. That stock is a powerhouse indeed. Also, I'm curious, so when did it become Meta? Because I know it was Facebook at one point, and that was when FANG was a thing.
Changed. I remember they bought the Meta ticker from the Metaverse ETF. So it was a Metaverse ETF, like had Roblox, it had Facebook, was also involved in Meta, and some other names. Like people are widely expecting Elon to do with X when, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now, when X goes public. But yeah, no, for real though, they, I forget when they did it. It was like 2021, I think.
Yeah, I was just curious as to when that happened.
Pretty sure it was 2021. I'm just don't remember the exact day.
Oh, sorry, Neil does. Thank you, Neil.
Yes, thank you. June 2022. Okay, I'm wrong. 2022. Yeah, I thought it was 2021 for some reason. All right, the market moving right back down into lows again, guys. Here we go on the NQ and on a lot of the Mag 7 names, Nvidia and Apple and Softy all included in that move down. Look at Google, man. Google, wake up, bro. With markets moving down, Google's making higher highs. All right, here we go. 16,825 again. The overnight low, though, like we've been talking about, is that 16,790. Yesterday's closing print is 16,767, like the airplane. So look at what it does possibly here at that 16.8. Or we're awfully close to that 16.8, about 28 points or so. This is forming another, stair step down the channel, the downward channel that we've been in, Adara, since around when we got that GDP print this morning, right? We popped up, we got into the high of day at 16,970, weren't able to take 17,000, and it's been one steady stream of lower highs and lower lows. It's been a short to pop kind of day, but you've had to been really accurate with your timing on these futures trades.
Yeah, that's quite the channel, I have to say. And I think a lot of that is like kind of like, you know, with the pops, that I would say that applies to some of these mega cap names as well, right? Like Nvidia, 1000% was that situation. Like I said, I ended up taking, to borrow an Obiism, a cheeky long here a little bit, and then got out. But yeah, like Nvidia totally falling. And this one was in a pretty nice trend earlier though. Tesla also, I think, yeah, some of these NQ names falling right now. I'm not gonna say all of them because some are not, but Tesla here, swoop into the downside. Let's see what we do with these earlier levels that we were kind of having that stutter step to the upside with. So let's see how we go at 250.10. Let's see what we do at 249.60. Let's see how we do at 249, almost 249 even. Those are the levels that are of interest to me. But yeah, like the point I'm trying to make though was earlier today, Tesla was super rangy heading up, then super rangy heading down. Nvidia was super rangy, more or less flat. Yeah, just a really interesting journey that the NQ was going on. In the words of one Sean Katina in the chat, tank, with lots of exclamation points and then a little smiley face shorts. Yeah.
Tanking is what we're doing right now, Dara. Right back down into another local low, 16.816. Looking for that 16.8 and then the very close level below 16.8, which is 16.790, which is the overnight low. And that overnight low, like I really need to explain what that means. It's really the opening print at 6 p.m. yesterday when we closed out for an hour and then we opened, the opening print was 16.790. So it's not like we made it overnight at like 3 a.m. No. That was literally yesterday at 6:01 or 6 p.m. exactly Eastern Standard Time. That's when we made that print. So we're looking for some support at 800. We'll have to see if we get it. But yeah, weakness all around on the Mag 7 names and other names as well. The ES, not very much better. So the NQ is still actually higher than the ES at this point. 0.30 for the NQ, 0.15 for the ES in Greensville, but like for how long, really? And then as per usual, the Russell outperforming the Dow, the NASDAQ, the ES, the Russell up 0.2% on the day. The Russell's been, yeah, man, it's been, if you want to trade long, I think it's really been the Russell lately because it's the one that's in a clear bull market at the moment. Here it is. Let's have a look at the Russell. Yeah, Russell definitely not giving up the ghost in the same way that the NQ and the ES are. We were just talking about a downward channel on the NQ. Sure, you got a downward channel here. It's no bones about it, but you measure that for all my math nerds out there, the angle of this descent is definitely not as aggressive as the angle of descent on the NQ. And in fact, we actually gapped up on from the print from yesterday. So looking possibly to fill the gap. Let me show you this daily chart on the Russell. Very strong, man. We were at 16.
That's so good.
1650 in October. And we just broke through 2000. We almost got to 2100. Yesterday we got 2065 before that 2:33 p.m. tank that we had yesterday. So the Russell's been really outperforming as of late.
Yeah,
who was saying something here? Christopher Holcomb saying 824 max pain. I'm long at 24. I got the low of the day. Shout out to you, my man. Great trade there. Let's see. Let's see what else people are talking about. Blackberry says, Sharif Adair, sorry I can't join you today. Learned a lot with fun. I'm outie for this year. Wish you happy Christmas and a fantastic New Year. Shout out to you, Blackberry. Hope you have a fantastic Christmas and New Year as well. If you celebrate, or happy holidays if you don't. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you again in the New Year and you're active and as good in the chat as you have been all year, I would say, from since we started watching. Really, you've been talking. Intergalactic says, is Cathie Wood buying Tesla at these levels? Who knows? She releases, I believe she does a daily release of all the actively managed positions that she has on ARK ETF. So if you want, just go to that ARK ETF website and see what she's up to. What the hell is this spike up here on the NQ? Holy cow, what a move up here on the future off 16.815. We just rocketed up from 815 into 65. Like that's 50 points just like that in two 1 minute bars. So big move up on the future, but you're really not seeing anything really to change the direction of the trend. We still are in a downward channel despite this nice move up here. So this might be a short the pop kind of event because really it has been the short the pop kind of event. If you've shorted anything off this upper trend line this morning, you are in an absolute print factory, which would make at least one of us because I'm not. But beautiful pop right now. We'll see if we get some continuity through this pop. We haven't had the break of this level. We talked about this level over here being a support level from around 10:30 this morning till around 12 when it broke down, and that same level that we were using as support now is acting as resistance. Kind of a random level, 16.8 2/3. I didn't expect this to be any sort of significant level, but it's proven itself to be over and over, both as support and now as resistance. We'll see if it's able to break VWAP, but to really change the trend, guys, we need to make that higher high. And we won't get a higher high unless we bust through that 16.9 and start printing above that 16.9 high teens. If we don't, we're still in a downward trend. We're still lower highs, lower lows. So ways to go here for the trend to change there.
Yeah. I like hoping that, you know, maybe we are still in this downtrend, and I don't know how I feel about this yet. I did get into a little baby Tesla short. I say baby Tesla short because I took, like I've been saying, very few shares. In the same here trying to figure out what I want to do scalp wise. I'll probably take it out around this 250.80 should we get there. But yeah, I'm definitely, in terms of my stop, if we make a newer high, bye-bye. I say bye-bye. I don't say hi to a higher high if I'm in a short, I'll put it that way. But yeah, so yeah, I don't mind the look of this. We're more or less at my point of entry, kind of waffling. So yeah, so pretty happy with this right now. Also, I'm very proud of myself because that level that I said might be interesting, this 250.20, look where we popped up, that 250.20. I feel like, you know, being on the midday and with the teaching and, you know, with everyone surrounding me, especially, you know, being right here next to Sharif, I feel like I've gotten better at chart reading, and I'm just really, I want to, you know, sometimes we have to pat ourselves in the back, and I do like, I was pretty proud of how I read that Tesla level there. Obviously, you know, things aren't always going to work this way, but I said this could be an area of resistance because that's where we popped from in the first place. And indeed, we did have a little pop to the upside there. But yeah, so I do not mind this look at all. Also, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find a way to word this because I know sometimes I jump into wording questions and they get confusing. Sure. So with regards to, I know that you said like the pre-market levels are usually like better for like kind of gauging levels, but you don't put as much stock into them as the intraday, right? But then my question is, so like I know you were mentioning that the, I guess, what is it, the pre-market open, is that a level that you would pay extra attention to then? Yeah, so it's something that I definitely take into consideration as well, to see what was the opening print. Because the order imbalance is important, but there's so much volatility at that opening. The opening auction is ridiculous. I mean, you obviously see that every day, so it is quite volatile. So, you know, there is the opening print there that you can chart. I like highs, lows, previous day close, or anything specific that's showing itself over and over and over again on the chart as a key level. Right, and then that's just going to be practice, practice, practice to see what those levels are. But I also want to distinguish what you said earlier with respect to what I use pre-market levels for. So we have a different use for them for small cap gappers than we do for the large caps, right? I'm never really taking a trade where I'm waiting for the large cap to break through the pre-market high. That won't ever be a trade that I execute, whereas that's exactly what I'm looking for a small cap. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
Yeah, so different uses for the pre-market. Look, it's kind of hard to say because there's so many orders that can't go through prior to 9:30. All the New York book orders can't fill until after 9:30. So are you really getting the full market picture in the prior to 9:30? That's the question I ask myself. I'm not really putting pressure on you to answer that.
No,
I'm just, you know, I'm kind of like an open rhetorical question.
Yeah, no, I
right?
appreciate that.
But that's kind of why I'm suspicious of pre-market and aftermarket levels. But then, for example, how many times have we seen the algo spikes after earnings act as key resistance levels? When we move up back into those levels, we keep rejecting off them. Well, why? That was an aftermarket level, right? So if we're not really weighting aftermarket levels as equally as intraday levels, then how come we keep getting those rejections off those algo spikes? So many unanswered questions. You're just going to have to kind of do the math and roll with the punches, so to speak, because you're not going to always have answers to all these questions. Thank you
for explaining that for me. I appreciate
it. Charlie Taff says she bought a ton of Tesla yesterday. Okay, great. So I'm assuming she probably bought on the dip, on the close. Maybe she was there on the market on close order. I don't know. But yeah, Aunt Kathy, you know, we saw she's actively managing a lot of these positions, guys. All these ETFs, I think there's over 150 different ARK ETFs. She's actively managing most of them. So she's not actively managing most of them? Yeah, there is. I looked at it yesterday. Yeah, we can Google it right now. Why not? Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe there's 50 ARK ETFs. Let's see what we got here, baby. ARK funds, our ETFs. Funds. See. It's over under 10, Sean's saying. Maybe he's right. Maybe I misread that yesterday when I was looking at some of the positions that she had. Our ETFs. Yeah, there's not that many. You're right. That makes sense. Probably the amount of individual equities within the ETFs. Yeah, that probably makes more sense. From all I can see here is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she's got 8 ETFs. I think all of them are active. No, here. So of the 8, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are actively managed. Good to know. Yeah, not something that I really pay too much attention to, but yeah, very nice. Shout out to Aunt Kathy. It looks like she did a lot of buying yesterday. Christopher Holcomb, told you I got the low of the day. Shout out to you. Good stuff, man. Hope you print on that. What else are people talking about over here? Kathy Wood bought 94,000 shares of Tesla yesterday, says Glenn Smith. Sounds good. Tesla looking to run up again, says MJP. Yeah, the market's looking to bounce here. It's at that key resistance level. We'll see what it does.
I mean, I hope Tesla's not looking to run yet because I'm in Tesla as a short. But like I said, a very teeny tiny short. So if I at this point, like I said, when I say scalpulation, a lot of that is me looking at the tape and seeing what areas we're running into resistance with, right? So we kind of keep dancing around this 251.20, 251.30. The other area that I found we were kind of struggling with a bit was 251 even. If I can get it at 251, that's 10 cents, which is not like beautiful, but you know what? I'm just trying to practice getting more comfortable getting in and out of trades, and I don't want to lollygag or dilly-dally in a trade that I'm not comfortable in. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I have been scalping a little bit more. Stock market bull 427, wait to short Tesla at 260 area. Yeah, I know that's a solid point. I'm mostly, like I said, I'm a little scalpier, so I'm just trying to take what shorts we can get. And I have to say, why I like to short this too, at least at this level, is lower high, lower high, lower high. We have some really clear levels here. And when I say clear levels, I mean like look at this like really solid bottom at this 250.20, right? So I think this chart has been presenting levels to itself. That being said, if we make a higher high, as I said, I'm gonna say bye-bye. It looks like we might be doing that now, so I might need to reevaluate this trade just a skosh here. I'm probably gonna have to get out of this guy if we break above this 251.60, which I think we might. Yeah, what a time. Roger saying in the chat that was a Santa bounce. Yeah, solid times. Looks like Tesla's pulling back a little bit from that though, so I'm gonna maybe sit on my hands just a skosh until we have that decisive break of that 251.60.
How you doing? Damien Oliver says, what's up, man? Sharif, what do you think of Aritzia going long into Santa Rally? I don't even know Aritzia traded. What's the ticker for that? JN, tag me. I don't even know what the ticker for that is. Obviously, we have them here in the malls. And they're bubble jackets that all the females love in Toronto. I saw a meme the other day. It says, like, you can't be a Toronto girly unless you have a super puff. Right? Which I
Cat's nodding.
And it looks like Cat in the Hat's nodding there. So we're getting an interesting look there. The 10-year now is positive. The 30-year now is positive. I'm talking about yield. So these were decidedly red on the morning. Now they're flipping long as equities continue to move down. All right, I'm going to say this once. For the person spamming the chat, this is the last warning, okay? Or you will be blocked. So please cool it with spamming the chat. James Dell, like the mole in Austin Powers. Yes, yeah, exactly. She's not managing any of them, says J-Biz. She's trash. Ella, okay, well, I respect your opinion. I don't think Kathy Wood is trash, but that's your opinion. That's fair. What does it mean when futures and Qs are doing the exact opposite? Are they? Okay, let's have a look. I didn't expect them to be doing the exact opposite. In fact, I think we were just making the case that they were awfully close. So let's have a look at what they're doing. So let's go to the 5-minute on the NQ and the 5-minute on the Qs, guys. Where do you see the exact opposite? So You have this move down over here. You have it echoed over here. You have higher highs over here. You have higher highs over here. And then you have this dip over here. And you have this. They're identical. At least on the 5-minute look, they look awfully similar. Now, I don't have VWAP on here. We can put VWAP to see what VWAP is up to. Intraday. Let's go intraday. Intraday volume weighted average price. There we go. And apply OK. No, just come to the chart, guys. All right, there we go. And just make this a little thicker so that everybody can see it. There you go, yeah. We are below VWAP on the NQ, below VWAP in the Q. Look at the breakthrough there on VWAP. You've got the same break over here. So there's no difference between the chart patterns on these one guys. So my bad, I was watching the 1 minute in the futures that were tanking the same time the Qs were ripping for a few minutes. All right, gotcha, no worries about that. But that's one of the things we were talking about today, so I thought I'd have a look. The NQ and the triple Qs, we talked about them moving in the same direction mostly, but there are some different implications with respect to trading ETFs and trading the futures contracts, Adara. Anything else moving? We have LTRY. It looks like a small cap gapper.
Oh, some mention of that in the chat too.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. LTRY. This one rocketing to the high side, small cap gapper. Not much information about this. Lottery.com, 1.8 million share float. Very small, $10 million market cap. I don't see a, or do I? There we go. Halted after $18 million investment commitment from Prosperity Investment. Trading of Lottery.com shares was halted, up 44% after the company got an $18 million investment commitment from Prosperity Investment Management. The stock hit 52-week lows of $1.22 on Wednesday and is down 57% in the past 12 months. There you go. So we do have a catalyst. Already 3 halts to the upside, starting out its life at $1.30. First level of halt was 189. That was looks like a 10-minute halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, this is a 15-minute halt over here. This is a 10-minute halt, and then we'll see if this one's going to be 5. So already the first halt was much longer. And put in the ticker, LT. Much longer than typically what the first halt is. So we'll see what this one does. Halted at 376. Let's see what the tap is on this bad boy. LTRY. The tap is currently showing at $4.44. So much higher than the 376 that it's currently halted at. 347 now. Good look on LTRY. Let's see if this one pumps.
Yeah, I pulled up PYPL for ND Trade in the chat. Hey team, thoughts on PYPL? Daily, it's a little bit of you know, it's quite the chart. I'll put it that way. We had kind of a decent bottom at this 61.67 area. Broke below that. The new bottom 61.60, but definitely like still slightly down, slightly up on the day, sorry, but we are moving to the downside in kind of a curved way. Maybe this will end up being a smiley face. I would probably wait and kind of see, can we break this top, because this one's been super rangy. I want to look at it in the daily as well now. Okay, this is it. This is where things get funky. Ooh. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, I love analysis so much, but we almost have like I'd like to see sort of a double top here around this 64 area. If we get 64 again, I think that would be really key. Because look, we're sort of at that earlier area where then we made slightly higher. Then we had this wicked movement to the downside. With their lowest point being around 51 as of the most recently. Then we had a really nice consolidation, upward channel. There we go, I know words. And now we're here at this really key pivotal level. Like I said, looks very double top-ish. I'd love to see what we do if we can break that 64. But PayPal, not really a bad look here. If we can, like, we are in an upward channel as of right now, but longer term, definitely down from where we have been. Like I said, I think it'll be a little bit more bullish from my standpoint, not investment advice, just my cup of tea, my take here. If we break above 64, not a bad look at all.
Yeah, that's good. Charlie Taft says, Sharif, how are you positioning your personal investments at this time, i.e. are you building cash, fearing potential broader pullback, or staying in for continued market strength? I'm personally invested at the moment. All of my trades currently are swing trades. I'm not looking to hold any of these long term. I was holding four names. I was holding UNG, Caterpillar, Apple, and Li Auto. I'm out of UNG for $1.25 loss. I'm still holding all my other positions, all of them in the money except for Li Auto. Li Auto is flat at, well, actually now I'm $1.50 out of the money on Li Auto after that move down today. My $2.50, I should say, because now it's at 33. I'm long 35.5 on LI. Li Auto, ooh, what a move down on Mullen. On Li Auto. But the other two are really picking up the slack. And I didn't put any actual money in any of the money market funds. So I didn't buy any, or I didn't invest. So yeah, I didn't buy any treasuries to try to get any of the yield. I didn't really put any money in any savings account. But I should tell you that my broker pays me almost like 5% for holding cash in my account. So I was able to kind of wet my beak with some of the higher interest rate environment that we've been in. But mostly, it's been focusing on equity trading, and we'll see what we get next year for some of these names. Obviously, everybody was thinking 2023 was going to be a bad year. It ended up being a decent year. So we'll see what we get in 2024. Dara, you want to go through that thing one more time?
Let's do it. Heck yes. 6 lessons, or six aspects of why ETFs and futures are different and how they differ. But before we can talk about how they are different, what are they? So an ETF, as defined by the SEC, is an SEC registered, I love that they include that part, an SEC registered investment company offering investors a way to pool their money into a fund that invests in stocks, bonds, or other assets. So basically, in layman's terms, it's that an ETF combines the two main features of mutual funds and standard stock trading. So it's a nice little wedding, a marriage between the two. What are futures, though? Futures offer investors more control in what they're investing in. So according to the CME Group, basically, futures contract is an agreement to buy or sell a specific quantity of a commodity or financial instrument at a specified price on a particular date in the future, hence the name futures, right? But what are some advantages of futures trading specifically in comparison to ETF? So numero uno, fee structure, right? So one of the major advantages to trading futures instead of the ETFs is the lack of a management fee. So when you purchase a futures contract, you do not pay a management fee through the life of the contract. Like the old man finger coming back at you again, wagging at you. But with ETFs, you're usually charged a fee that equates to a small percentage of your balance, usually about 0.44% according to the Wall Street Journal. And in addition to the management fee, there's usually a commission tacked onto each ETF trade, which sometimes can average around $15. And so for a small-time trader, these fees can rack up, and they eat at your bottom line. You don't want anything nibbling at your bottom line. You know what I mean? So that's one benefit of the futures versus the ETFs. The second benefit, accessibility. Futures trade almost 24 hours a day, 6 days a week on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, whereas some ETFs offer after-hours trading, but they can't be traded 24 hours a day or almost 24 hours a day. And so because we're in an era where everybody wants accessibility, we're always on the go, you want to have more opportunities to trade. And that's what you get with futures in terms of time-based alone, right? Liquidity, another factor that is a really key one when you're looking at what distinguishes the, to shout out to Obi, what makes the futures and the ETF distinctly different, right? And so a big aspect here is the liquidity of the investment. So when you talk about investing in the stock market, liquidity refers to the ability that an asset has to be quickly bought and sold in the market. So how quickly are you able to get in and out of trades? You need liquidity to make those quick ins and outs, right? And so the more liquid an asset has, the quicker it can be bought and sold and bring immediate monetary value to its owner, which is always fun. So while ETFs offer good liquidity, they don't offer as much substance as a futures contract, meaning that the ETF market can't support as quick of a turnaround from buying and selling as the futures market. And futures contracts are all made in far out trade in dollar terms, and they offer much more substance than an ETF. So, par example here, because futures are traded so broadly and in such mass quantities, owning a futures contract allows you to buy and sell or sell that contract on an almost instant basis. Like you can get in and out with the futures. Because the market has so much volume and money, and we'll get to the volume in a minute because that's quite staggering when you compare the ETF volume to the futures. But anyways, the market has so much volume and money that it can support this type of action, whereas the ETF might not be able to do so. And now here's a really fun part, tax benefits, okay? Trading futures also offers advantageous tax benefits. And according to the IRS, section 1256, a profitable short-term futures trade will pay less taxes than an ETF, which is a really interesting, fun little fact. And according to Investopedia, a futures dividend is treated for tax purposes as 60% long-term and 40% short-term. That makes it a blended tax. It's becoming a task, me saying tax. But no, 40% of your gains are taxed at 35%, and 60% of your gains are taxed at 15%, which averages out to a 23% tax. And ETFs, on the other hand, are subject to ordinary, plain old income tax rates, and those can add up quickly and also nibble at your profits, which again, we do not want. Now here's, to me, one of the most fascinating aspects that differentiates the elements, and that is volume. Okay, sorry I clap, but I'm getting really excited here. Volume and future contracts greatly outpace ETFs across the globe, partly because they have something to offer every type of trader with regards to volume. So when you look at that average daily volume of futures in comparison with ETFs, you'll see that treasuries, crude oil, and gold all trade significantly higher in terms of volume and or dollar value than the ETFs. And according to the CME group, and I do not know when, the E-mini S&P futures contract outtrades, 2022, thank you, outtrades all ETFs combined by 2.56 times. So let me get this set up here. There we go. Let's look at this, guys. This is amazing. This is comparing the size, and Sharif and I were ogling this earlier because these numbers are cray-cray. But yeah, so as of 2022, the E-mini S&P 500 / the SPY. So futures average daily volume, 192 billion. The ETF average daily volume, 19.6 billion. That is almost 10 billion times the volume if you're in the futures. Yeah, wow. And that explains, like, I know a lot of people ask you in the chat why you trade the futures contract instead of the ETFs. And I totally get why, because you have so many more opportunities to enter and exit when you're in those volumes, right? I mean, look at the copper futures ratio of the average daily volume for futures versus ETF, 2,000 plus, guys. So I think this graphic, as stark and dramatic as it may seem, really shows you the extent to which you are getting a little bit more volume for your buck if you are in the future. And last but not least, leverage. So with futures, you can control more of a commodity like gold, corn, whichever you happen to be trading, than you can with ETFs. And the ability to control more of a commodity can actually help you make more M's, which, you know, we want to take less L's and make more M's, right? So that helps you there. And in order to see a net gain in ETFs, you have to see a lot of movement in the price, which is pretty rare. But in futures, because you have so much volume, as we just discussed, you'll get a little bit more movement, quite a bit more movement. And then that helps you, the more movement you have, the more ability you are to be making big profits. But that also can work.
No, I want to make a point.
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't pointing at your mic. There are now like different ETFs that are triple levered. For example, remember I was telling you about BOIL? So compare that to UNG where it's just 1-to-1, but BOIL is actually triple levered. So what they've tried to do is the ETF people have tried to steal away some of the market share of the futures trades by having a leveraged ETF. And the T-triple-Qs, same thing, right? So if you're looking for a levered QQQs, you can take the T-triple-Qs, and so each tick is a little bit heavier in that direction, whether up or down. So they've been trying to steal a little bit. You can understand why they do that. Yeah. Obviously, they're getting fees, and so they're trying to generate revenue, obviously, for themselves. So
that's really interesting.
I just want to put that out there, something that I forgot to mention earlier.
No, I appreciate you mentioning that. They're trying to like sway people like Sharif who like trading the futures. They're like, oh, but wait, we have the triple lever. No, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And so yeah, not something I want to look more now into how this actually plays out between the triple levered and the futures, because I'm a nerd. I might actually look into this tonight. This might be some evening reading. But the thing is, with this leverage, the issue too is that this can swing the other way when you're in a futures trade. So just as little tiny movements to the upside can accumulate really quickly and you can make some quick profit, you can also take L's quite a bit faster as well because of how quickly they move. The other interesting thing with futures that I find really interesting when compared to the ETFs, and this is another aspect I want to look at with regards to how the levered futures measure up here, but the fact that futures trade closer to the underlying product than the ETF.
Right.
So for example, an oil company's stock will rise and fall with the price of oil, but there are other outlying factors that affect the stock's price if you're looking at ETFs, right? So this could create a large variant in how the ETF tracks than how the futures will track, right? And neither the futures or the ETF will track at a 1-to-1 ratio, but the futures come much closer. Although, like we said, you know, the stuff like the TQQQs can make it interesting and stir the pot a little bit. Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. Looking at Amazon here, let's look at some of these names that have been moving. Let's talk about some of the Mag 7 names. It's been kind of dead this afternoon. I got to tell you, look, Google looks like the best of the bunch at the moment. It's putting in higher lows, albeit it does still have lower highs, but it's one of the only ones that's putting in higher lows at the moment. So good look for Google. Maybe we get a break through and a hold above that 140, maybe into that high day of 140.60. Google doing the most on the day above VWAP at the moment. I want to mention Amazon as well because it just got into that VWAP area and broke through it at that 153. An interesting, support level here at that 152 and a quarter, 152 and a third. It's been holding up now, just getting back into above VWAP. The thing is with this one, I was looking for it possibly to make a break through the higher here at 153, but it's actually finding resistance at that higher high. So I don't know if this one turns around again or what, but it broke through VWAP. It looks more bullish than any of these other names at the moment is AMZN. It was flushing early and aggressively. Apple looks to continue its downtrend. Likewise with Nvidia, it had a bit of a pop through VWAP there, but that was definitely a bull trap as we've been making lower highs and lower lows since that time. And there really hasn't been a reprieve in the down move here on Nvidia. Yeah, Google looks real good here. I got to tell you the truth. I probably got out of that one a little too quickly, but there. And Microsoft holding as well, that 370 level. That was an excellent level on Softy, which actually came into play yesterday in the aftermarket. Actually, that's where we kind of dipped down to about 5 minutes after the bell. We dipped down into that 370 area and then got bought up immediately. And then we were consolidating at 370 for a while today on MSFT from around 12 o'clock. And then we really got off that 370 area at around 120. Good move, $1.25 off those lows. Future doing nothing. Still very consolidative, kind of putting in some higher lows here, but definitely the overall trend still to the downside, still fitting within that downward channel that we've been basically in all day. I kind of expect that. We've been having decent moves during the midday lately, but I guess kind of calming down a little bit now as more people take holidays and probably buggering off from work a little early, then I don't blame them, right?
Sounds very British.
Yeah, right? There you go. LTRY still halted, guys. The small cap gapper halted at 517. Looking at the tap, it's 554. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 halts to the high side here on LTRY. All of them have been longer than 5 minutes. This one is halted on an $18 million investment from Prosperity Investments. Up almost 300% now, 294% LTRY. What time did it close? 13:43 and 4 seconds.
So almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, so if it's going to be a 10-minute halt, then we should be opening up quite soon in around 30 seconds or so. But if it's going to be longer than that, then we're going to have to wait probably another 5 minutes. We'll have to see. Typically, they come in increments of 5 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever that's going to be. So we're going to have to wait and see what this opens, but very strong as of late. And the tap showing that buyer is still in control here. The tap much higher than the closing print. 570 is the tap. Tap stands for theoretical auction price, and we halted at 517, guys. So good look there for all the small cap gapper traders. And there it is. It's open. We get through. We get the break of 620 is the high. But do we hold this halt level here at 518? We're going to have to wait and see. Let's put a beak wetter here. Oh, what did I do? I messed up. All right. Well, it looks like I screwed up there, so I'll send it to you for a second.
Okay, yeah. yeah, when those like when the Halt ones open, they open like crazy. Like I always talk about how I was scared off from small caps for a long time after trading a little small cap by the name of Axla that halted basically the second I got into it. But you know what? You live and you learn, and yeah, that's. What a time. Also, thank you to Stock Up in the chat. Great info. Appreciate it. Thank you. We thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
We're always trying to share the info. I'm learning a lot every time. Also, shout out to Sharuz72 in the chat. Adara, I was long on, and he corrects here, TQQ or TQQ for quite a while. And after market is all-time high, I'm still in lots of loss. ETFs, the leverage are not good for long term. Well, thank you for bringing that up. And I think that goes back to why the leverage point is so interesting with regards to what we were saying with the futures, right? Because they can work really well, but could also really work against you. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. I'm very sorry, though, for the losses. And I appreciate everybody always in the chat sharing their stories and their experiences with what we're talking about, right? Because you learn from experience sometimes, unfortunately. And I think I think it's a really good point to note that leverage can be really helpful, but it can also really, smack you in the face or stab you in the back. So really interesting time here today.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Shrew was also saying there's no way the market goes high. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely doing a trend. I want to pay one more visit to a pal by the name of this Blackberry stock here, because I was saying to this one earlier, I was like, will we flat bottom break? We sort of did, but then Blackberry was like, nah, that's too much work, and then kind of gave up in this 352, 356 range, a whole 3 cents of range. Not like we're down like 13% on the day. Blackberry was a really good movie about the stock, but not a super interesting stock right now for me personally. After those earnings had that big swoop to the downside.
Oh, Tesla just swooped to the upside.
Oh, it did.
Tesla.
It did. It might be Tesla, yeah.
There you go.
I was a little depressed in this one earlier today. No, I'm joking. We lost like 50 cents in this short. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I've been, feeling better about the trading lately. I'm not gonna let this short stress me out too much. I was shorting a pretty strong stock. But look at this one. Like I said, another key level. You know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say 250-360. That's what I'm gonna say. Because look, triple top maybe.
Yes.
So that will be, because we fell right from there. So that will be my level. That being said, though, we did have lower highs. Or higher lows, I mean. So we could go even higher. I'm not going to touch Tesla, but I have to say she's looking like she might be Besla today.
Yeah, well, it's not looking bad at the
No,
moment.
She's not looking like a Mesla. It's a pretty clear chart to read,
Oh,
I have
that's
to say.
a lot of laws.
Yeah,
I like that. No, but for real, though, we put in nice higher lows here on TSLA. It looks like we're putting in higher lows with maybe a flat top break at that 254. Like Adair was saying, I mean, I think Adair's level is better, that 253 and 2/3, but you have multiple touches wick-wise at 254, and here we are. We're awfully close now as we move our way into 253. So these higher lows coming into play. Maybe it's like one of those skewed double tops, or double bottoms, excuse me, where the right, side of the V is higher than the left side, which makes sense because what you're looking for is buyers to overwhelm sellers incrementally to break through the neckline. And the neckline is over here, and I would say it's at that 253 1/3 or 254, whatever. If you're basing your entry based on wicks or closing prints, we'll have to see what Tesla does. It's the strongest of the bunch, though. There's no question about it. Tesla's up 2 1/4. Everything else, pale in comparison. You have the second would be Google, 1 1/4. And then after that, it is really Nvidia at 0.83 and Meta 0.71. Microsoft's up 0.2. Apple's down 0.4. And Netflix is flat on the day if you want to include that in the larger names. But anyway, Tesla, nice move up. But we still, I don't know. I'm not convinced on this move up. We're definitely going to need to see more. We're below VWAP on the future. We're below the key 16.9 level. We haven't made any higher highs on the future. So I'm not quite certain about any longs at this point, whether on the futures or the Mag 7 or anything market tech related, to be quite honest with you. LTRY coming in to that $5 level. Again, it's spiked up all the way into 672. That's a high a day. It's up 280%, but it's doing that fight at 5 between buyers and sellers. It's finding some support, at least for now, even though it wicked quickly into that 4 3/4. It is being bought up on the dip, so we'll see if this one can curl back up. But yeah, multiple halter. Each and every halt's been more than 5 minutes. The first one was 15. The second or the subsequent 3 were all 10-minute halts. So if this halts again, pack your patience because you may be in it for a while. Anyway, here we go. Holding 5 into 5.5 again. Over 300% now on LTRY. Lottery.com getting an $18 million investment from an investment firm called Prosperity Investments, and they're up nicely on that news, Adara.
Yeah.
About 2 minutes left on the show. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I guess my one thought is Prosperity is taking a bet on Lottery.com.
There you go.
So sorry, but yeah, no, I think Tesla. I think this is a really fun chart to watch. I don't usually trade in the afternoon, so I probably won't trade this one, but I will keep just because I'm doing other stuff. But I'm going to keep an eye on these levels. But yeah, in the meantime, I learned a lot about futures and ETFs today. Thank you for answering my questions. Thank you for everybody in the chat for contributing and asking questions, answering questions. But for now, we will have to bid you all adieu. We will see you tomorrow for the last day of Futures Week. And yeah, see you all tomorrow on the flip side. For now, same bat time, same bat channel.
I think we're still early. We're a little early.
Sorry.
About 30 seconds early.
Well,
it's all
not yet,
good.
then.
It's all good. You didn't look at the clock. I should have told you.
I did not look at the clock.
We're about 30 seconds early. And the production team started panicking.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No, not yet. Brendo will be ready in a minute, guys. And the big kahunas are going to take you into the closing show running today. And then Sean is off tomorrow, but Neil will be in and Obi will be covering for him. And then Monday, guys, don't forget, that's obviously a day off. We get that day off for Christmas. We'll resume everything on Tuesday again, and then we'll have another day off for New Year's Day as well. So make sure to mark your calendars in case you join us every day. But now it is 2 o'clock.
It is 2 o'clock. I apologize to Ramin and Fabian. I'm so sorry. But for now, yeah, we will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And for now, Brendan is in fact at the big desk.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome back in, 2 o'clock. Let's get going into the final couple hours here as we head towards what's setting up to be at least a